minute, now I'm all for you like Janet. Can this be a real thing?
Following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences. The following
Technically, that's true because I'm not wearing clothes.
He's the emperor with no clothes. So, but welcome to the Friday night shit show, everyone. I hope you're ready because it's going to be shitty. So,
wow, that instills confidence into the hearts of our listeners. Oh, wait, it's going to be shitty. All right, well, glad I tuned in on a Friday night.
They expect a shit show, and we're going to give them one. We always do. But I want to say thank you, Orange Hat, for joining me tonight as a co-host. And thank you, Ruben, very much. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Emperor. Even if you're naked.
You're welcome. I'm very comfortable. I turned the heater up.
Yeah, good. Just keep your camera off, and I appreciate it. But I say hi to everybody in the chat. Hi, Low Spec. Thank you for coming. Six Nations, hello. And Papa Cotton just popped in, hello. And I thought someone else said something on here, but I guess it didn't. It's not there now. I don't see their post. They must have deleted it. But that's been a problem. I don't know if any of you noticed.
I got why they would delete their thing once they make a post. I mean, why delete it later? Have the balls.
I don't know. It's not them. Just like I said, that email I got says that they're having problems with posts deleting. Disappearing. So I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds odd.
Well,
conspiracy theory-ish. Sorry, truther-ish.
Hello, Truth. Thank you for joining us tonight. But anybody want to add or say anything before we get started about any shit that's been going on with you?
Thanks, True. A vote of confidence.
Well, okay. Well, all right. So I'm going to pull up my first article, and let's see, which one is it again? Oh, here it is. This is the one I wanted to share with everyone. Can you see it? Hillary Clinton condemns Trump for paying hush money to political liabilities instead of just killing them.
I love the Babylon Bee.
The Babylon Bee. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Babylon Bee, but still, I mean,
I'm a little concerned you thought that was a real article for a second.
Yeah, but in today's world, I mean, this could be, it probably is true, honestly, but we're just not allowed to talk about it because that's the wrong side of the fence or whatever. But I just thought it was hilarious, the headline on this. I just wanted everybody to see it, give you a good laugh. But I
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, Hillary, or Hilda Beast. That's what I like to call her. Can't stand that woman. Oh. Okay, well, now I'll go to the next one, the real one. So hold on.
Were you doing your Bill Clinton impression? I never slept with that woman.
Oh, yeah.
Hillary?
I never had sexual relations with that woman. That's what
Hillary Clinton. Have never slept with that woman.
Hillary Clinton. That sounds like him.
Sorry, that's my wife. That's my wife.
Hi, Raven. Thank you for stopping in. Hi, Stephen.
Of course, nobody would blame you, Bill, because taking one look at that bitch, I'd cheat on her too.
Okay, well, remember when everyone was talking about all the ballots, that were just showing up at different places in the middle of the night? Well, this guy, it says the Postal Service released a final report on the contract driver that Jesse Morgan was vindicated because it confirms he hauled a trailer of ballots from New York to PA in October 2020. So he's been vindicated because he said that he did, and everybody said he was lying. So Did any of you guys remember this when they were talking about it?
I'm pretty sure I remember a guy that ugly.
Amber, you spelled pervert wrong. Just kidding.
So you don't? None of you remember this when they were talking about it?
I did.
I'm not talking to him the rest of the night. You can just blank him out. Like I get made fun of by cue ball over here.
Yeah. Well, what do you want us to make fun of?
Oh, it's funny. Oh my eyes.
But I just want everyone to see this because all of the truth is finally coming out, even though it's like months before, 4 years later, stuff's coming out.
Okay, but let me ask you this.
Nothing's going to change.
What I was going to say, what changes? What's going to happen?
Nothing.
What are the consequences? Nothing ever happens. That's why it doesn't matter if these whistleblowers come out a week after, a month after, years after, because nothing ever changes. No one ever goes to jail for this shit. No one's ever prosecuted. There are no consequences for being a substandard person. There isn't.
Well, but there's always, again, if you going back to what you said last week, history will vindicate what's happening. Things will come out in the future.
Sure, 25, 30, 50 years. They're going to seal shit like they did JFK's assassination. We'll know in 100 years who shot him.
Well, we already know who the CIA did JFK away. We know that. That came out just last month. That's a few months ago. And then no one gave a shit because everything's so crazy.
No one gives a shit now about the election.
It's never going to be revealed because it's believed to be destabilizing enough to ruin the country.
All right. That was my fault for bringing up JFK. I apologize.
Sorry, disabled.
That's what I was saying about the election, though, is nobody cares now, let alone 25 years from now. The average person, you can tell, okay, we got proof the election was rigged. All right. Okay.
The thing is,
and what can be done about it then?
Nothing. That's what the problem is. I'm a big advocate telling people to sign up to work the polls because if your ass is sitting in a chair, they're not going to cheat in front of you. Okay. And if I was sitting there when she came in and said, "Oh, the toilet's leaking down the hallway. We got to evacuate the building," and I took an oath that morning when I worked the polls with the judge, and they get you to swear that you're going to watch the ballots, you're going to follow the letter of the law, blah blah blah, all this shit, right? And if they had came in there and said that to me, I would have picked up the stuff, the books, and everything that I had, the paperwork that I was supposed to look at, and the ballot box, and would have started to leave.
But then you know what would happen, Janet? Then
I'd be arrested probably.
It would be arrested, and then you would go to jail, and then it basically you'd be in jail. I
still would have done it. I still would have done it.
But then you'd be vindicated like now, like this guy 3.5 years later, and then you'd get out, but then your life would be ruined per se. So
well, my life's ruined already. I mean,
I know. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying that's what would happen if you put.
Well, you're really sweetening the pot for people to go ahead and volunteer at their polls. Yeah, your life will be ruined after you're vindicated 3 years after you go to jail.
I'm saying is, if more people would go in every state, if we could get someone in every polling area, this station, 10, 20 in your little town. If you get one person like us to sit your ass in that chair and take the ballots, count them at the end of the night and submit the paperwork, knowing what the number was and signed it, and then send them in, more people would feel confident that their vote mattered. It's not getting enough people. When you go in and it looks like a nursing home at every single place you go to work, it's because they're the only ones that volunteer to work the polls. And then they use that as an excuse, right? That's how they got all these electronic systems set up because, no one volunteers.
Do you know your neighbors?
Money, and we'll do it this way.
Do you know your neighbors? You've talked to them, your neighbors?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My next door neighbors. Yeah. Okay. The closest one, but I have to go through it. It's a little walk because it's way back behind my coop.
Did you used to do that when you were like a kid? Did you hang out with the kid neighbors and all that stuff?
They don't have any kids.
No. When you were a child, when you grew up,
I had 4 sisters play along kids all the time.
So then, basically, but the thing is that now most people don't know their neighbor, don't associate with anybody, so they don't get involved. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what happened too. That's what caused it. So the mentality now for people, especially since the lockdowns, is they don't go out; they stay at home, or they just do their errands and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So the fact that you would basically say people are no longer invested in their communities. So how do we get people invested in the communities when they already know? They turn the news on, they see bad news, they don't like it, so they basically say, you know what, I'm going to shut up and just do my thing. And they just do those things. I would love to find a place. I'm looking for the place to go to be home, to have a home, and then do what you're saying, to go out, be part of this, the city government, dog catcher, all that stuff, and then work the polls that way. Because I like that stuff. I do like that. I did that when I first started. It was when I moved to Chicago. I did that for the first 2 years when I was here. I liked doing that until I got married and stuff, and then got big business, and then got really disillusioned and discouraged with all the corruption I saw.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, nobody politically has the balls to do anything. They just want to have a status quo. Don't rock the boat, which I hate. When someone says "don't rock the boat," I get really miffed. That's why
Don't rock the boat.
Shut up.
We need to Hulk out. Let's see it do it. Come on.
Just kidding.
You're gonna stroke out. Stop that.
No, not funny.
Well,
so
next Tuesday, I got to report again to the courthouse.
Oh, here we go.
To sit and be interviewed for the fourth time to see if I get to be on jury duty. So cross your fingers, because this is my last chance probably, because at the end of this month, I'll be finished with jury duty because you do a 4-month panel. So do what?
So I like some of the comments in here. Raven sounds like she's fun. I'd like to have her as my neighbor. She says, hell, I'll drink with my neighbor. But poor Craig here's like, folks, get involved. We can still save America. Deuce, get involved locally. Man, I got shit to do.
I do.
I'm bored. I don't know if I like America
as much as I can.
I mean, that grass ain't going to cut itself. I'm hoping Raven moves in down the street so I can party with her. There's stuff to do. Nation's got a good point. Quote, we repeat this every show. How many actually have done anything since the last show? Where are the motivational stories aside from Janet? Who's engaging in discourse, being proactive? Okay, well, in my defense, I can't do shit because because of the contract I signed with the companies I work for, because we had issues a couple of presidency elections ago with people getting political. We're not allowed to involve ourselves in any kind of politics. We cannot advocate for anybody officially. We cannot run for office. I cannot work polls. I can do jury duty because that's by law. So in my defense, I'm allowed to be lazy because I literally am not allowed to do anything.
Well, you can do something, and you do something right now. You're doing something right now by being on this show and being verbal about things that you see.
Yes, I inspire people. Just
technically, isn't that a violation of his contract?
Nope. I checked before I did this. I'm allowed to espouse political views. I'm not allowed to endorse officially. That's why, if you've listened, I've never said I endorse Biden or Trump officially. I simply say, well, I like what this guy does. I like what that guy does. It's a thin line, but apparently they're cool with it. No, but it's actually, it was an actual concern because I asked before I did this based on a show I used to do, which is like, hey, I'm going to do this. And they said, all right, well, as long as you're not coming out and pretending and working for what?
She picks up trash.
She's a saint. Let's all worship Raven because she picks up trash.
I think it's good. If every person would just do 1 or 2 things a week, like pick up trash, even if it's just in front of your yard, because people throw shit out all the time. And I pick up trash every time I go to the mailbox. I pick up little pieces of trash.
Neighborhood.
That's thrown. Well, I live out. It's in a rural area. People dump animals, garbage, and all kinds of stuff. So and I think it's great. But the thing is, if we all would just do something like that, it would make a difference. Like your beautiful cat that you have. I won't say the name or anything. If you took it once a week or once or twice a month to the nursing home, local nursing home, a lot of those people would love to pet your cat.
My cat would probably smother them.
The thing is, petting an animal does lower your blood pressure. It's medically proven. So it does help you, and it helps people with anxieties and all that type of stuff. I used to do it when I was in the Junior Chamber of Commerce. We would take our pets that we knew were vaccinated and that we didn't bite, that weren't aggressive, and we'd take them to nursing homes and let the people pet them.
Would you pet me so that my blood pressure would go down?
I don't think your blood pressure would go down if I pet
well,
you.
no, it wouldn't, but we could try. But I'll feel better either way.
I'll think about it. I'll let you know.
Get back
but
to that.
The thing is that things like that can help your community, and people see you, they're gonna wave at you and they'll remember you. I mean, they just do. I noticed that a lot of people remember who I am because of something I did like that. So I do. I'm very hands-on with things like that. I enjoy doing it. I mean,
John
I did
M.
something
has a
this
good
morning. I'm
point.
not going to talk about it, but I went and volunteered to do some things today, this morning, with little kids, and they were playing kickball games and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. And I was freezing my butt off because it was barely 60 degrees, and I was cold. So, but it was fun. I'm glad I went. Instead of going to the gym, that's what I went and did. So it was great.
Well, luckily mine's not a hat check because it's not a government thing. It's a company
I
policy.
think he's being facetious because of the whole Korean Jean-Pierre loves to cite the Hatch Act all the time.
Yes, I remember that. I think I remember that. And it was like
I can't say anything because of the Hatch Act. It's like, bitch, you ain't violating that.
I remember the Simpsons version of this.
Speak for the president.
I think I remember that, yes. And I remember the commercials with Smokey the Bear telling you to put your fires out. I remember that too. Do you guys remember those?
Yes. And McGruff, the crime dog.
And not to leave your trash.
Chicago, Illinois, 606.
Not to take your trash with you when you leave, and put your fire out. All those things. Because we used to go to all the parks, all the state parks. I remember getting to go to the Redwood Forest. I think that was in California. Is that where it is? And
they need to bring McGruff back.
I believe you're right.
Out of the trees, and you could drive through them.
I think it is California.
I think that's where it was at. But I got to go to a lot of things like that because we traveled all the time to go visit relatives. Huh?
Hey, Janet.
I mean,
promote the email.
Yes.
The emails. Okay.
Please.
Let me do that real quick. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. I'll do that real quick. Just give me a second. I got to copy them.
Guess I should have said Native American.
No, Indian.
Yeah, the shit show has an email, folks, that if you want to rate or that if you want to raise inquiries, ask questions about stuff that we want it or you want us to discuss, things like that. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be political. It could be social, or it could be societal. It could be even entertainment based. I mean, that's where I shine really. And so also highlight it in the chat, Janet, so people can know what it is. It's Friday Night Shit Show at gmail.com.
Now, are we reading these at the end of the show, or are we going to do them next week? Or as they come in? How does that work?
Wait, well, I have the one,
emails we could start that next week.
Yeah, let's.
Or unless we have one now, we can do that.
How do I highlight it? Put a star on it?
No, you
sorry.
You go down. It's like you're doing in the chat with Raven's thing. Just go down to your comment and do the same thing.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, like that.
This? Oh,
like that. Yeah,
well,
that's how you highlight
it. That's what I call it.
You what?
You know it's called highlight
or something.
Present highlight.
Well, here's the other one I'm going to do. It's going up. Here's a new one.
It's orange.
It's
orange. Yeah, that's my original Twitter, folks. It's finally been reinstated because funny thing about it, no, it wouldn't fit. So I had to do.
That's what she said.
Orange. Yeah. But anyway, the funny story. I had this weird email. It's like you need to change your Twitter password because of weird goings on or weird things in the. It's like that's my original YouTube account. It's suspended. How can there be weird activity? So I go in there and it's like this activity has been or this account is suspended.
DM me, please.
You know what? I'll just file one last appeal. And I did, and I explained the whole situation. Content. And then I find out less than an hour later, my original Twitter is back. And it's like, before you continue, you have to get rid of the offending tweet. I'm like, fuck it, I'll get rid of it. If it gets my fucking account back, I'll get rid of it. So
okay,
I
highlighted every single person on here's Twitter account. So hopefully everyone it's in here will go through there and follow all of us on Twitter.
I'm 3 short of 500.
So
I never really paid attention to it, but I'm 3 short of 500 followers. I never really paid much attention to it.
Well, that's good.
Huzzah, I guess. Yay.
Good for you. Hey,
yeah,
I got 1,050. Yay.
By the way, I do have a couple emails that were sent to me last week to my old, I'm guessing they must be old listeners of mine, and a couple of Discord comments about last week's show. Well, we can do it later. We don't do it now. We can do it later. We have stuff to do now.
Okay, just remind me or I will forget. Okay. I'm
sorry. Tweets after every one of these. I'm
just
after every one of these shit shows.
And I will forget. But let me show this other thing real quick. Can you see this? It says cartel hitman killed.
Yeah. Right, nice.
Okay. This was a post that was very it really upset me when I read the whole thing. It's a cartel hitman killed a grandfather and his 4 grandchildren 4 miles from me. Our county food pantry has cars stacked up down the highway every Thursday. Illegals dump dead fighting dogs and garbage on my land. My elderly neighbor died with holes in his roof and us feeding him and his dog. But we're going to send another 60 fucking billion to Ukraine. Fuck you, Mike Johnson. Seriously, fuck you. But then I went on down and I was reading more of his comments underneath his post. It says it was Collins Ranch just west of Centerville, and he killed all 4 grandkids. Stuff like that.
You're showing your private chat again.
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. There we go. Thank you.
Well, but luckily it was only just a link to the thing. And nothing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I don't ever send naughty stuff on Twitter, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, it is.
Folks, I'm trying to.
It's really fuck sad with all the time because this is what happens in our. This is our country, okay, the United States of America, and we're having this kind of shit happening on our land that we pay taxes for. Okay. I just think it's ridiculous. I can't believe that we've gone that low in our country. The way our government is treating us, we're the ones that are paying their bills, and we don't have any rights. We're forced to get a shot against our will. We're told we can't go to work if we don't get the shot, and then if we don't get the shot, we lose our house, we lose our car, we lose our jobs. And then they take your kids from you because you're not a good parent because you don't have any way to supply what they need. You know, all this stuff. It's all the government forcing us against our will to lose everything that we want to work hard for. Or you sit on your ass and get a free check from the government and do nothing. I mean, it's like they're not giving us any in between. They're trying to completely get rid of the middle class. That's what it seems like to me. What do you guys think about that? About what I'm saying? Do you think I'm
I've said numerous times, and I've proposed it numerous times on social media, that if people really wanted to stick it to the government, all they would have to do is organize 1 year or 2 years and organize millions of people to not pay taxes.
Yeah.
They can't arrest millions of people.
Yeah, but see, the people the beginners are afraid to do it because the first ones who do it are the first ones that'll be attacked and lose everything.
Sure, there is a chance of that, but if there are millions, tens of millions, maybe even 100 or more million people who just refuse to pay taxes, you will or that's called sending a message to the government that it's like, you can't arrest all of us. We are telling you right now, we're not complying with your bullshit anymore. You either stop sending money over or we will continue not paying taxes. You try to penalize us, we just might do an armed revolt to the point where you finally get it in your head. We are the ones who run this country, not you. We elected you, and unfortunately, we're sick and tired of waiting for you to get the fuck out.
Janet, you want to know what's going to affect change in this country?
Sure.
Okay. You need to find something that is simple, takes little effort from the electorate. If you can do that, not talking something as stupid as like a Coney 2012 type hashtag, because unfortunately, that's how a great deal of people under the age of 30 see activism in this country. Oh, I'm doing my part because I'm a hashtag crusader. If you want to actually have any kind of change, you need to find something, whatever that may be. And I don't have the answer to that. That is simple and easy for people to do. It requires little effort. It requires little action on their part, just enough to show that they're pissed or mad or they want to change. And you can say, well, voting. Well, if voting was going to change people's attitudes as a politician, that would have done so a long time ago. Since there are no consequences for being a douchebag politician, they continue to act the way they do. So until you can find something that everybody can agree on, because it's easy to do, takes little effort to try and get a change, because most people aren't going to put in the effort. And this is kind of what I think Nations was saying earlier, when you're advocating for people to go to the polls and go to jury and duty and all that. You said it's primarily like it's an old folks home in there. Why is that? Why is it always old people that's at a polling station or on jury duty? Because they're the time to do it and they're bored. The vast majority of people that you need to make changes in this country are part of the electorate, and they're not retirees. They're homeowners. They have jobs. They have kids. They have other concerns than worrying about trying to make politicians more honest or more responsible. It's much easier for the electorate to just bitch and complain about it. Say, oh, they keep spending our money to Ukraine and sending it off to Israel and wherever else.
Yeah.
But unless it's something simple and easy, it's going to be very hard to get people behind any one thing to try and change something.
Simple and easy won't work, though, because that's the problem.
I think it will work. And the reason why is because many times I've said this on many of my shows and other people's shows, is the fact that the whole thing with the Bud Light, I'll just use that as an example.
Yep. Perfect example.
If enough people get together and say, fuck you to a supplier, a company, or like Netflix or Disney or any of these companies that we are sick and tired of their agenda being crammed down our throat on a daily basis and on our kids, and we just stop buying their shit.
That's a hell of an example.
Stuff.
Nobody protested outside their building. Nobody held any kind of petition. They just didn't buy anything.
Yeah,
it was the simplest thing to do.
And Bud Light freaked out, and they changed it. And they changed their whole process of what they were doing at that time.
Look at the groups out there. Look at the grassroots groups like the Tea Party. Now, what meaningful change, long-lasting change, did they accomplish? Nothing. Or the MAGA bloc, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and the rest are trying to get rid of the speaker. What lasting, meaningful change have they accomplished? Nothing. Same to the Democratic side. That's what happens when you have these activisms. You may have small victories here and there, but major change, the one you're kind of talking about, Janet, that was an excellent example about the Bud Light thing. I wish I thought of it myself, because it took absolutely no effort from anybody except to simply go and buy a different beer. That's it.
But the thing is, it still takes conscious effort. It's just like a mother who's trying to save money. You cut coupons out of the newspaper, out of magazines, wherever you can get coupons, right? And you go to the store that offers the best price for your meat, milk, bread, whatever, and then you buy it and you use the coupons. That money that you saved, you can use towards paying your electric bill or your television bill, your phone bill, things like that. It takes effort to think before you act. Okay. It does take effort, but you got to train yourself to do that every day. Get up and say, okay, today I'm going to do whatever it is that you want to do. Go work out, send emails out or make phone calls or clean your kitchen or do your laundry. You have to think about it. Nothing gets done if you don't think about it first and then figure out a plan to do it and to follow through with it. Especially a mom that has like 1 or 2 kids, you got to go do all your things, but you got to take kids now. You got to pack their diaper bag. You got to.
Emperor, here's a question. Here's a question for the Emperor, and the question for the panel theoretically. So you had ABC, CBS, NBC. You had the evening news that come out. Walter Cronkite back in the 70s, 80s, he would do these things, and now you don't have that. You have 24-hour news, or you have X. So people's trust in media has plummeted. People watch or follow X for real free speech and news that's going on. That's not censored or anything like that. And we have the YouTube of what's going on here. So the percentage of people now who are awake has changed dramatically since the lockdowns ended or started and now are over, but now people are waking up. So what is that, in your opinion? How much change has happened? It used to be at X and now it's at X. So so that to basically say it hasn't dramatically changed, but people are waking up. But what percentage or how many, is it like 1% people, 2% people now that are awake? Is it very, very small, meaning 96% are asleep still? What's your opinion on that? Where are we now on that? Like, wake up, we got to change something.
I think there are more people awake. As far as what you're saying is, are they aware of what's going on in the world? Are they more dialed into what the government's doing, what our foreign policy is? Yes, I think so. I think the difference is that the problems, as to your point, as the media has presented them, the budget issue, immigration, trans rights, the problem with Israel, the problem with Ukraine, the problem with the border. There are so many problems, and they are so overwhelming that I think the majority of people just throw their hands up in the air saying, you know what? I don't know how to fix this. I don't think anybody can. I'm going to worry about what's right in front of me, which is my job, my house, my family, my neighborhood, my community. I think a lot doesn't get done because the problems are so overwhelming that nobody knows where to start. When you say $37 trillion is the debt of the United States, does anybody have a clue on how to fix that? I mean, you can say, oh, we can balance the budget. That's fine. That's not going to turn down that debt. No, the common person isn't going to look at these things and have a rational idea of how to fix it. We should build a wall. Okay. Then what do you do about the 30-some million people that are still already here? The idea of trying to send it, well, we should deport all of them. How?
Abort. Put them on a plane, take them over the ocean, drop them off.
On a logistics thing, that is damn near impossible to do. I like where your mind's at, but the reality is this, is that I think, although more people are dialed into what's going on, I think you have a couple of generations of people who simply don't care because they aren't paying attention. And those that are dialed in, I would say the 30, 35 and over group, don't know how to fix it, or are so jaded because they see how things are run and the fact that nothing ever seems to get better. And that people keep telling them when they run for office that they're going to go to Washington. They're going to fight for us. They're the maverick. They're going to buck the trend. They're going to tell the Democrats or the Republicans, no, I'm not going to go that. I'm going to fight for my constituents. And year in and year out,
never do anything.
It doesn't happen.
Right.
It's apathy. That is the great danger that this country faces. Not the debt, not the immigration, not the war. It's apathy. When you get to a point where the common American simply doesn't give a shit anymore. And I think that is very quickly coming. That is the true danger that I see for us. And I think that's what's changed.
I've already said how we could actually fix all of that, but people are not willing to do it.
It's 12-0.
There are some extremes that people aren't going to go with. For moral or religious reasons, there are some extremes that people will not. And that may be what it comes down to. Is that an extreme measure has to be put in place to solve some of these problems, and a lot of people aren't going to do it.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
I don't think Emperor knows, or Emperor's been on a thing where I've actually talked about it. Essentially, the way that I say it or describe it is you start with a Palpatine and you end with a Maximus. If you've seen Gladiator in Star Wars, Basically, yes, emergency powers. You suspend the Constitution. But you need somebody in office who is actually going to step down, who is actually going to surrender that power. But you also have to make sure that you do it for an amount of time that can ensure stabilization after an amount of time of enacting the emergency powers.
That's a great theory. Unfortunately, the minute you suspend the Constitution, for one, you no longer have a United States of America. Number two, it's nice to say that you need a Cincinnatus. The problem is that person probably doesn't exist. And if you want a Cromwell, is probably what you're going to get. Not a Cincinnatus, but a Cromwell. And if you go that route, then you've got a world of fucking hurt. Yeah. And you suspend the Constitution, you will have riots in the streets. That is one extreme that will motivate people, even if they have no other political ideology whatsoever. It'll be enough that suspend it, like, all right, habeas corpus, everything, all your rights, Constitution suspended for the next 3 years to put our house in order. People will not stand for it.
That's like the Purge for real. Remember the movie The Purge? Think about it. If you have no rules, what's going to happen? It's going to be utter chaos. And the sad thing about that is when you have no rules, most of the people that get hurt are innocent people. Okay, because you and I are going to be, when we are confronted, we're going to try to be as civil as possible before we have to pull out our gun and shoot someone. But a person that's a thug already, that's not following the law, isn't going to give a fuck about anybody. They're going to just come take your shit. They don't care if you're a kid or you're an old person. They're just going to take what they want. They don't care that you spent 50 years paying for a house. They don't care that you've tried to save and scrape to get where you are. They just want your shit, and they don't care who they hurt to take it. So you have to have rules. We have to have laws, and we have to have people to back the laws and follow the laws and arrest the people that break the laws. Right now, we're in the middle of a government that's arresting people that are good. That we got people sitting in jail from January 6th that are still sitting there with have never had their day in court. So I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Or suspend the Constitution is or maybe I said the wrong thing on that. Or if I can actually clarify what I meant. Mm-hmm. Suspending the Constitution is probably the wrong wording. Basically, to ensure what happens to actually get to that point, there would be safeguards enacted into which, yes, there is or these things would happen. You would actually have to go to extreme measures to get crime under control. But the safe measures are, you cannot go to a certain degree of extremism to enact this. Also, if you do if you do get to a stabilization and you do refuse power, the people who are, or the government is under orders to terminate that person who is doing it if they refuse to step down. Of course, there would be safeguards in place. My proposal, that is, there would be safeguards in place to prevent a dictatorship if it ever did come to an extreme measures situation to get the country in order, because you aren't going to get it in order or back in order. The problem is our republic has failed. It is a dying beast laboring for breath. And Trump, he is a Band-Aid. He is a Band-Aid. He's only got 4 years. Nobody is willing to do what is necessary to get this country back on course. And in order to do that, you do need to go to extreme measures. Unfortunately, nobody is willing to do that because nobody is willing to get the country back on course to what it was. We actually need to trim the fat off the fucking Constitution, meaning we need to go back to the Constitution's bare bones. Well, not the shit that we added when corrupt politicians started coming in.
No more Second Amendment. No more First Amendment. No more.
No. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said back to its bare bones. Meaning, yes, Bill of Rights stays in.
Here's a proposal. We have all this AI stuff. We should, and all this stuff that we're trying to do. You basically take the entire U.S. code, and then you make a bill that goes in reverse. step by step, every law that's been introduced since creation of the Union 1776 on. You basically go like 2024 and go backwards, and then every law you review it and going, okay, what's good in this law, what's that law, you get rid of it, and you start undoing every law, undoing every
yes,
yeah, that's what you mean.
Trimming that, basically. You're refining the laws back to their pure structure.
The sad proof
you chip away with
the nobody wants to do it.
I know, but
politician in office wants to do that.
You chip away the U.S. code to go back. You chip away the tax code to make it put it back. The only way you have to do is to do it brick by brick. You have to get it down. And one of the first things you have to do constitutionally through a convention of states or something is basically say, okay, moving forward, representatives get one term, 2 years. That's it. Senators get 1 term, 6 years. President gets 1 term, 4 years. That's it. Remove the incentive. And then you have to basically say that from now on, balanced budget and laws, there's no omnibus, no this, there's no continuing resolutions, nothing like that. You have to get, that's one thing you have to do. You have to cut the spending completely. And then you have to basically clean house. We have all these resources here. No more shipping over jobs overseas, doing this. All has to be done locally, doing it here. And then basically giving really supercharge the 10th Amendment.
That minute, John.
Supercharge the 10th Amendment so that the states control what they're doing within their own borders. Also, that's what you have to do. Give more powers back to the states.
Then you're going more towards the Confederacy, and you're undermining the federal government. And I do have a question for you, Ruben.
I don't want the.
Did you just say you wanted to use? I have 2 questions actually. One for Orange, but the first one's for Ruben. Ruben, you said use AI, correct?
Or use something that's non-biased that we can all.
I was going to say AI is not biased. 2 weeks ago, wasn't there a big thing on Google because you look at white people on when you talk to their AI?
But again, that's the thing. The AI models that are used now, to large language models, are proprietary. You build something that's reviewed. That's
and who builds? Who would you trust to build a non-biased AI to go through?
Anybody. People under review. People had to review it, and it's open. It's all opened. To the sun, like a sunshine.
An open source
law, yeah, open source. Everyone can see the code.
You know, everyone knows the last open source AI.
I can answer that.
They talked to it and they talked it into a Hitler. It literally they had programmed it after interacting with.
I know. But people.
The problem is, I like the idea, but you're
people
assuming that AI is to a point where we could actually build a program like that and trust it.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
I want to do that. I'm going to do that. A non-biased.
You want to do an unbiased AI?
Yes.
Here's what you do. You get the AI started. You do not teach it shit. You don't teach it anything yet.
That's what happened with the last one.
You then teach it the Constitution. And then you teach, first off, you teach it the original Constitution.
But again, you're
okay.
AI itself. Wait. Let me finish. Let me say something.
Hold on.
Wait. This is very important. AI, the way it is wrong. It's not artificial intelligence. It's not intelligent at all. It's all based upon what you put in, and what you put in has to be exactly what it is, and it's all public review. There's nothing, not one line of code is done without anybody looking at it. It's under the complete peer review, open completely. Again, everything, the situations you talked about, the Hitler thing and all that stuff, that was still closed. It was still a closed system. It was still
Breaker
closed.
actually made my point for me, which is, and you both now, Orange and Ruben, have now made an example and proven why this is not a practical solution.
I haven't even been able
because
to
you're talking
finish it yet.
I'm sorry. You'll get your chance in a second. The point being that
AI
is not perfect.
Wasn't even finished.
That the AI is not perfect. That none of us can even agree on how to go ahead and get this thing settled to begin with. So you have to tackle that step, which I think is a great deal down the road, before we can even put it in front of anything with the Constitution to peel it back or see what works. Now, I do have a follow-up question to Orange, but you need to make your point first on this topic before we go to the next one.
Thank you. Basically, as I said, you create the AI. You don't teach it anything yet. You get it up there. You create a before and after scenario. You create or you show it the original Constitution that was ratified in the 1700s, and then you have it drawn to a comparative of the Constitution now. You then show it everything in the United States that's been going on for the last 250 years. And then you ask, is there anything that needs to be ratified or refined in the Constitution? Meaning you allow it to have both right and left viewpoints. You do not give it one or the other. You give it the entire picture.
No,
and then you decide. Impossible. It is not, or you also put stipulations on it to where it's like you can't draw a conclusion as to, or that includes genocide of humanity. Obviously, you can't allow a Skynet scenario.
You're giving you're assuming too much with what it can do. It cannot do that. It's very basic.
This is to, or its only purpose is to decide how to refine the Constitution.
No,
you put in the parameters put in the parameters to limit it.
It can't.
Janet, what do you got?
Why not?
I was just going to say,
because you're assuming too much.
As an American citizen,
you're assuming way too much.
Guys, hang on.
I'm a human. I don't think we should have AI involved in any way at all. Our forefathers wrote the Constitution by themselves through argument and discussion, just like what we're doing right now. That's the only way it would ever work.
It's open AI. It's different.
But not using AI at all. Nothing. Just people sitting down at a table with pens and pencils and paper. That's it.
I can't wait for Skynet and Whopper to make the decisions for us about what works and what doesn't.
That's how it should be fixed.
But let me ask you this.
I'm saying this honestly from my soul, the way I feel inside about what I care about, which is everyone that's died to give me the right to say what I'm saying. Okay. For those people, we should be able to sit down and have an open discussion with everyone that's involved in our government and the people from every city. We should have some way of letting everybody voice their opinion, just like we do when we vote in our states, in your towns. Okay. You put it on the ballot, you get, you go out in numbers with a clipboard and you get signatures. This is what we're wanting to do. What do you think about it? And then they sign it or they say, nah, I'm not interested. It's all footwork. It's grassroots. Go out and do it. Save your cities and save your towns, and then you'll save your state. If we save the states, then we can save the federal government. But if the federal government cannot be saved without the states being saved first, period.
That's wonderful. That's true.
It is
just
wonderful
made the case for the Confederacy. States' rights over federal. Orange, I had a question for you. A follow-up from earlier. Let's get away from the AI for a second, because I don't think we're gonna agree on that one. But Orange, you had said that you wanted to have like a Cincinnatus, or I'll get to the other example here in a second. As a strong man in charge of the United States, suspend the Constitution to make the hard decisions. What extremes are too far? What are you willing to accept as American for your strong man to do to set this country right?
Unfortunately, there is going to have to be culling of the population. That is just an unfortunate fact.
You're fine with a Cromwell.
Like I said,
you say you wanted
you start as a
Palpatine.
I didn't say anything about a Cincinnatus. I don't even know what the fuck a Cincinnatus is.
So wait a minute. You don't know who Cincinnatus is?
No,
Jesus
I don't.
Christ.
I don't know who it is.
Cincinnatus was okay. For those who don't know, and I learned this in 4th grade social studies before I got to college, Cincinnatus was a great general in Rome before their empire, during the Republic. He retired and became a farmer. Rome got in some shit with the Etruscans. They came back and said, hey, we need someone to come back and lead us because we're in deep shit. Cincinnatus came back. They made him dictator, gave him full powers over the Republic of Rome, led them to victory over their enemies, set the government right, retired, and went back to his farm. He didn't keep power for 1 day longer than it should. The city of Cincinnati is named after him, the Society of Cincinnatus. He is the great. Who do you think Maximus in the movie was fucking patterned after? How does anybody not know this?
I knew
You've heard of Oliver Cromwell, I hope, because that's what happens, motherfuckers. When you give someone that kind of power and they have a decision to make, to go to any extreme, if we're willing to accept it, oh, there's some culling needs to be. That's how the Holocaust happens, dumbass. We need to get rid of the undesirables. We need to get rid of the people who are going around destroying everything. That's the exact same thing they said. To bring Germany back to the way it was in its great period during the Reich, before the First World War. And this is in his fucking book. We must get rid of the undesirables and those who bring down the Ubermensch. The people bring down the Aryan race. Those who poison our bloodlines and destroy our economy and our jobs. Those who are underpinning our society, the Juden. They had no extremes they were not willing to go to. And the fact that you don't get to clarify because you said 3 times, we need a Palpatine. The fact that you would trot somebody out from fucking Star Wars instead of an actual historical person that actually did it, either Cincinnatus or Cromwell, who butchered tens of thousands, sacked Ireland, all for the greater good, and all because they had to put England back to the way it should have been. Not to mention butchering the people that happen to have been the aristocracy who didn't even do anything. This is insane. You want to have an Emperor Palpatine wipe out people, blow up planets, because that's how you have order? That's your example? No, there is no clarification. There is no further argument here.
Yes, there is. If you actually give me a fucking chance to explain.
You talked 3 times, brought it up 3 times. I asked you a follow-up because I let you
been able to clarify it once.
First you said what you wanted, then I asked what extremes, and you said none. The culling of the population is fine. We need a Palpatine. Your clarification was
that's
there.
Putting words in my mouth.
Twice when I asked you. You ran yourself into a goddamn wall.
Okay, that's enough, guys.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him clarify. Orange Check, go ahead.
Yeah.
Culling, first off, does not mean going on a fucking genocide mission. One,
what does it mean?
I would
define culling,
or basically
let him
define culling. Let him define it.
Let him finish his point.
Go ahead. I'm pulling it up right now. Go ahead.
One, it's called a mandatory enforcement of state executions for people in the jails. You ever think, or one, you have so many people because the states or some states have the death penalty, they refuse to do it. You actually force them to actually take the people who are on death row, the people who are serving life sentences, and all the other shit, and say, okay, we are no longer going to keep them in jail and constantly wasting resources. They are gone. You already just cleared, I don't know, how much of a percentage of jail overpopulation?
Okay,
second,
one question there.
One question. Wait, I want to chime in on what Orange Hat just said.
Go ahead.
Now, I'm not disagreeing with Orange Hat just said about executing the prisoners, but guess what? I believe that should be done by the state, and only the people in that state should vote and agree on what's going to happen to all the people in the prisons. See what I'm saying?
This is what I'm saying. That's how I would like it to be. Period. That's how I would like it to be. But if there was an instance in which there is extreme measures in which we had to go into a one person's making the decisions, I'm sorry, states, or that is one thing that I would actually do. States are going to have to start enforcing their death penalties. If not, then they are no longer going to receive federal aid.
Well, second, the thing is, not all states have death penalties.
Correct. Because you have
those people who are in those states who are serving life sentences are to be transferred to a state that will enforce the death penalty.
So if you have somebody in California, California is overrun, you have Texas that's overrun, but Texas has death penalty, California doesn't. So then, if California says we're not going to follow your order, but Texas does, are you going to force all the prisoners that move from California to Texas?
California would have, or California would be cut off.
Okay. What I would suggest to whoever was involved with that is, if you have a state like California or any other state that doesn't want the death penalty, and they have, so much debt. They can't afford to feed all the illegals, all the homeless, all the veterans, all the other people, which should be American citizens first. And then you got the prisoners and stuff in the prisons, and you have all the solitary confinement for the child rapists and the murderers and stuff like that are on death row. And some of them have been in death row for 50 years, right? So when they say we want money because we need more money from the federal government, which comes from all of us, from all the other states that pay taxes, right, to the federal government, they shouldn't get any money. Because if they're not going to do something to control the problems that they have in their own state, that they choose to rather spend money giving people sex changes and shit that are in prison to cut their dick off and let them be a woman, so they can go to a woman's prison, then why should I, in another state like Arkansas, have to pay taxes for them to pay off their debt because they refuse to take care of their own problems? That's like me going to Ruben or one of you and saying, well, I went and got my nails done and my hair done, and I got some piercings and I got a tummy tuck and I did all this, and now I can't afford to pay for my car payment, and I want each of you to give me $100 so I can pay for it. See what I'm saying? That's how stupid it is.
That would actually lead to my second point.
You don't need 100. You don't need to give me. Never mind.
Anybody else from out of our state,
it's a bad story.
Any other state to take care of their shit. So see, that's going to be another problem. That's why it has to be. Each state is responsible for their own shit. Yeah. We shouldn't bail out any other state. Period. Arkansas should never have to pay one fucking dime to California.
Hence my argument for enforcing the 10th Amendment.
I know, but when Texas was having all the problems, guess what happened? Other states sent their National Guard. We sent people, firemen and stuff to New York City when it happened, not because the federal government said, fuck you, send your people, we want you to do it. They did it because they wanted to. The people will make the right decision if the state makes their own decisions for their state, whether they want to send people to help another state.
I think
if that other state, if California,
I know.
Off, right?
So, wait. So
they're not going to do it.
So Orange Chat, going to your first point, you said calling being
calling involves numerous steps. The one would be first off, allowing all states to, or using, or this is in an extreme situation. This is in the extreme scenario, folks. First off, yes, one, you're freaking enforcing the damn state executions and even federal executions. Two, you are going to have to do the mass deportation, meaning our military is going to have to go in. There is going to be mandatory background checks on all the freaking illegal immigrants. There is no longer going to be just catch and release. You are going to, or they will be jailed. Unfortunately, they are here illegally. They are going to be jailed. And until their entire system, or until they are fully vetted and cleared, which will determine whether they stay or go. If
how
they
have 40 million people.
What's next? So then wait. So the first step is all state and federal prisons within each state needs to, anybody on death row
you'd have to build more prisoners, or you'd have to build more prisons.
Executed. Then step two. Yeah, I know. I heard that. Step two is to basically arrest and deport anybody who's here illegally. Build more prisons is next. What is the next step?
Hold on.
Well, no, we have to build more prisons, or 40 million in, and then get rid of them.
Use the ones that have been closed due to cutbacks and shit.
For 40 million people.
Well, can I add something to that? What you said about
obviously
vetting?
There would also be other things happening too.
But you were
always is.
But Orange Hat, you said that they
it's
would
not a perfect process, Emperor.
Yeah, there is no perfect.
You haven't thought it through more than 30 seconds. Ruben just
there
pointed
is
out.
no perfect process because we've never done anything like this.
That's
ever.
what I said.
That's the point.
But wait a second, I want to say something.
It would have to go,
please.
or to.
If you have an illegal citizen that walked over the border, there's no way to vet them because there's no record of them. They came over the border illegally. They haven't had vaccinations. They don't have a birth certificate. They have no way to prove who they are. How do you vet them?
What if we had giant camps where we could take these illegals and put them in camps? Maybe we can make them do work. Like build crops, build buildings. We'll call them work camps, labor camps. And if they get out of hand, or we find out they're criminals, we can build showers. But here's the catch. They don't use water. They think they do. We'll give them soap before they go in there.
Obviously, they
By the
would
way,
be treated
definition for you.
humanely.
Definition: culling is the process of segregating organisms from a group according to desired or undesired characteristics and destroying the ones you don't want.
Then it's a bad use of the word. All right,
is this the
maybe
final?
it's the wrong word to use.
So wait. So is this the final solution? Just kidding.
Well, no, wait a minute. I don't know if it's the last solution, Ruben. I would say it's a solution. I mean, we don't have enough prisons for the 40 million people here, but I like this camp idea.
It's a suggestion. It's a start.
These are simple suggestions. Also,
no, they're not simple suggestions. You're talking about upending 250 years of precedence and jurisprudence, getting rid of a living document, unlike any the world has ever seen, suspending it, taking some fictional character, putting him in charge of the country to go around killing the people we don't want, getting rid of the ones we don't want, and we have to make prisons for all of them. These are the solutions.
Again,
I want you to go back and
mischaracterized it.
No, I didn't mischaracterize. I just quoted you. I want you to go back when we're done.
I didn't say killing people who are undesirable, dude.
Emperor, that's just his point of view. He's
a lot of point of view.
I didn't say killing people who are undesirable.
When they're not.
We're all
allowed
to address John and
but he's changed the story 3 times. He has to keep clarifying because each time he brings up something,
refinement, dude.
And either Ruben or I point out that makes absolutely no sense.
It's called refinement.
Not in any world. Oh, it's refinement. I thought it was backtracking when he made some dumbass comment, realized when one of the 3 of us pointed it out, and then have to try and find a different road to make your point.
So, if somebody is in error, maybe they could actually take another person's opinion.
Janet,
and
I made
look
2
it over
hours
and
of
say,
dumbass comments last night.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Everyone.
However, I've never proposed a solution like this. I can promise you, not even in the 12 years of radio before this, have I ever said what we really need is Darth Vader to make concentration camps for illegals and kill everybody in prison to get rid of them. A culling, if you will. I'm sorry, you're right. He said Palpatine. Thank you, Janet, for keeping me honest, for correcting me. You are correct. He said Palpatine. I apologize. We need an evil emperor at the top who hates aliens. He doesn't like aliens, if we remember.
Well,
I get it.
The thing is,
aliens.
If there is stuff we can do, and it should start at the states, period.
The point, Janet, of all of this.
The regional governors will take care of everything.
That's why almost every single state
Go ahead.
has it in their constitution that they can pull out of the union.
Janet.
That's why they put it in there.
The point of all of this, which was what I said 20 minutes ago, or half an hour ago, which is that there are no easy solutions or great ones. When the solution is to stop doing everything that makes this country the way it is, to cull populations, if that is an opinion, it's a scary one.
It is.
And the fact that you would take this at face value is disappointing and scary. It's right. It has happened before. And I gave you historical examples. And that should scare the shit out of all of us.
Last week, I talked about it, that they are slowly erasing our history, burning books, tearing down statues, changing the books for our kids to grow up, because in 20 years, they won't even know anything about some of the things we just talked about tonight.
Right.
Because they don't want our kids to know our history. And that's why we make the same mistakes over and over and over again, is because nobody knows what our history is. Right. Nobody wants to know. And our teachers don't want to teach our kids. So it's up to us as parents to make sure our kids know the history of our forefathers. And
if you are listening to this right now,
we are
on YouTube, on X, on Rumble, on whatever you're listening to this on, I want you to send an email in. We've got time before we get to the show about your comments. What's your actual opinion? What is the email again?
Pin that email again. Pin that email again.
I want you to send emails. This is something I want to see about. If you have an opinion on what's going on, the problem is we can only pick and choose some of the comments we have in YouTube or X, because I can't see them all. I know Janet can, but she's only one person. And she's, I mean, she can only do so much as one person.
I am trying to click on them.
All right. It's Friday Night Shit Show at gmail.com. I want you to go ahead and send your emails in. I want to hear from you, the listener, about what we've discussed tonight.
Call in now.
Also, to address John M's expensive undertaking, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, obviously, it is an expensive undertaking, but considering that there would also be, or there would be other things that I would propose if, say, I were president. One, I would propose an entire voiding of our entire national debt that is owed to China, which currently I do believe is about $859.4 billion. Considering that is now available to spend if it was allowed. Not to mention, I would also excise all of Chinese interests out of the United States, meaning any properties that are owned are automatically voided and returned back to the United States. So, yeah, and any state that does try to offer or aid and abet China, your federal funding is now gone. So there would also be that as well. Now that $859 billion has been freed up, there's how you lend some money to that undertaking. Now, also, it would not be an entirety of time. There would be an obvious set limit of time. And the second it means zero, it means a complete reinstituting of the Constitution. I actually have thought about this more than just 30 seconds. I wouldn't say that it goes on as long as it needs to. Obviously, it's not, or that would be a dumb fucking step. It would only go on for a set limit, say 8 years.
How do you stop him? 8 years of ultimate power. Let's say he doesn't want to give it up, like so many have before. How do you stop him? A piece of paper? No. Right here it says 8 years. You got to give it up now.
It's called forceful arrest. They are or if they do not step down, it's called you execute them as they have refused to step down. That is what's known as you went tyrant.
And who is going to enact that?
They are given there is obviously, just let me explain. There is a group that is under order that if they refuse to step down, they are ordered, mind you, to execute the person.
Was this a Call of Duty campaign? Does anybody remember?
No.
Sounds very familiar.
This isn't.
I've never
I don't know if it is or not. I don't play video games.
Okay.
This is basically Secret Service. If I do not step down after 8 years, you are
Secret
ordered.
Service. It is an SS.
Yeah, it is the SS. You beat me to it, you bastard.
Just
you guys.
Yeah, there's a funny little thing there. But as I said, he orders, or the person, or they would be automatically ordered to put them to death if they do not step down. The second they refuse, they get a bullet.
The bad thing about that, the sad thing about that is even if you could do something like that, we have so many different factions of a government that don't get along. We right now we have the state of Texas being told over and over again that they can't protect their border by Supreme Court justices. Okay, so when they do anything, they are going against an order from Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court doesn't make laws. Okay, that's the government that's supposed to do that, not the Supreme Courts. But the thing is, we have judges now that make laws from benches. They're not supposed to do that, but nobody's doing anything against them either.
Well, so that wouldn't happen in this case.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is that's why it has to be a state by state way. It's the only way to fix our country is from one state at a time. I have a new governor now, and she's kicked China out two or three times that are buying property.
I need you to stop being rational for a second because we're talking about the Palpatine scenario. Okay, I don't want to hear about solutions that make sense. I want to talk about this. So let's go back to this. All right.
Yeah, but
Palpatine's in charge for 8 years.
Anything. This isn't helping.
I'm not saying
anything.
Palpatine himself, dude.
It's an interesting scenario, but I just want to see what happens. Let's say for the 8 years, let's say Emperor Palpatine decides that he steps down. He follows your pie in the sky theory. He steps down. How do we prevent the country from going right back to where we are? Thank you, Nerdy. That's another good example. But how do we prevent the United States from going back to where we were? 8 years, we clean up all the shit. We come back to where we are. We reinstitute the Constitution. We pretend like the last 8 years, just like the Germans do. They pretend the 40s never happened. So now we go ahead.
This is where my scenario would come in.
Well, we bring up the AI. Skynet.
No. Okay, where I first said was representatives. It's one term done. Everything is one term and done. You get one for senator. Sorry, six years for senator, 2 years for representative, and you make the Smithsonian Institution bigger. It's the Capitol's now institution. Everything, and everyone stays in their own location. You're a representative. You stay with your people. You don't come to Washington anymore. We don't need the federal system in that regard, where you go and travel. And then any law that's created has to be done in open forum on like I do in Florida. It's a sunshine law where the laws are posted out there. Everybody has the opportunity to review it, and then your representative votes on it. It's a one line, one law. No omnibus, no this. You put it out there. And then you want to balance the budget completely. And then to Orange Hat's credit, yes, you want to basically stop dealing with countries that are not dealing with our best interests. China, Russia, Iran, all that stuff.
That
bring all manufacturing back here. All the land we have here, start doing build nuclear power plants. Start investing here. All the stuff we can do here, all locally. Do it all local. Clean the water, fill up and help people get back to do work and do things and help our education.
Can I say something real quick for you, Ruben?
Yeah, go ahead.
California has already shut down every nuclear power plant they have because they don't trust nuclear power, but they want all their people to drive electric cars because they have wind turbines.
Correct. But
see, how is that supposed to work? And see, I'm not even smart. I'm just a normal, everyday person, a mom that has chickens. And I'm smart enough to know that if you don't have nuclear power plants and you don't have other ways of making electricity, that you can't force everybody off of gas and make them drive a battery-operated car that they can't even charge or keep the charged up.
That's why I completely vote for. That's why I would actually initiate a vote to completely defund California and say, California, you want to go that route, you're on your own.
But here's what happens. Here's what happens in California. It's already happening now. Every 10 years, there's a census. And every 10 years, their federal power will diminish. Because if people start leaving California, their representative count will drop. They still have the 2 senators, but their representative count will drop. So people say, "Well, fuck this! I'm out of here. Go to Arizona. Go to a state where they're wanted." Because right now you already have who would you have? Like, was it New York, Illinois, California are losing representatives? Texas, Arkansas, I think is gaining more. Florida, a lot more. So things change in that regard. So that's the balance, or that's a check and balance that of each state, how much power they have and all that stuff. So in your scenario, if basically California says, we're going to go with all wind and electric, and that's okay. It's your choice. You do that. If you want to give universal income, you want to do that, you do it, but you're not going to get any federal money for if you fail. You have to figure it out on your own. You have resources, sell your land. They wanted to, they may have to like break up the California because there was a idea to have it like 6-state solution for California or 2-state solution, or the state of Jefferson, the one that did there, or the greater Idaho. Things will have to change if people make bad decisions, and you may have the rise of city states happening, or mega states, there was a proposal to have Chicago be a state itself and all that stuff. It may happen, who knows, in the future. But right now, the states need to be given more power, which is the 10th Amendment. That way they're given it so that, hey, it's on your own. Boom, do it. Do what you want to do. So then that solution is, because again, right now, the turbine in Is it Arizona? Yeah, that Hoover Dam provides a lot of power. Provides a lot of power for California, all that stuff. They get it from there. So that's what they have to do. So it has to be done at the state level first. So like I said, the solution after the Maximus and after the Palpatine thing is, okay, moving forward, Washington, D.C. is a museum of the past. Our new system is the same. Representatives, 2 years, you're in and out. No more lobbyists. That's who you get rid of. That's who you call all the lobbyists. No more lobbyists. No more this. And I'm going back to the whole, what I meant by the AI or large learning models is something that's, corporate power gone. The laws are public. Here is what we want to do. Do we agree? The representatives look, you contact your representative who's in your state, not in Washington. You go to their office locally because it's a local representative, and there's no benefit for him. You do it out of it's almost like going to the polls, working the polls. It's out of loyalty to your state. You're doing this. And even make the senators now part of representatives too. Take that back. Change that law back to the way it originally was, that the states appoint the senators. They're not elected. Elected only representatives elected, and then the president's elected. Do it that way again. Going back to that thing. That goes back to my aspect of taking the U.S. code and revamping it back to the way it used to be. Simplify. And then it's going to be a process. It'll take 200 years to do it, to get back to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights again. But again, we have to do it step by step by step, generation relearning everything. Like, and a big thing about that also is get rid of all the fucking departments, Department of Energy, Department of Education, Department of this, Department of that, Department of Homeland Security. Get rid of all these things so that we don't have no more Patriot Act, no more bullshit like that, no more FISA bullshit like that, no more
Patriot Act should be completely repealed.
That's what I'm saying, but you do that step by step by step, and you tell people what's going on.
The thing is, if you you have to let the states work it out. And it's just like you said, though, until the federal government says, we're not paying you off, we're not going to pay your debts, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that for your state because your state's fucked up. Okay. Until the states fix themselves and can live on their own money, Arkansas has a balanced budget amendment. They have to pay their debts. We have to stay in our budget. Okay. So each state should start working on their own state and say, okay, if you're at home and you got to pay your bills and you have this much money, okay, you got to stay in this budget, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to pay your bills. And what happens in real life, if you don't pay your bills, they come and take your car. You can't get to work now, or you have to beg people to come pick you up and take you. You can't buy food. You can't pay for your electric bill. You can't have phone. You can't pay for things because you're not being responsible. Well, we have a government that's not responsible. We're so far trillions and trillions of dollars in debt.
It's corporate, all corporate.
Okay. And our great grandkids are already in debt, and they haven't even been thought of. Okay. Their parents hadn't even born. Okay. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. But the thing is, that's the only way that I can visualize at all anything changing, and it's by our states. Okay. I work the polls. It sucks. I've gone and I've sat there all day long, crocheted 3 hats and gave them away and stuff like that. But I did it because I felt like it was my duty to make sure that everyone that came across my table in the precinct that I was working in, or in the parish, depending on what state it was in, I've done it in 2 states, that they felt like I cared enough to make sure their vote counted. Now, what they did with it after I counted and wrote all my stuff down and signed my name, I can't control that. But I did the best I could with the job that I was given. And if every person does the same thing to try to make sure that they follow the letter of the law, and they're trying to change and go out and do stuff, volunteer, sign up to work the polls, go and vet candidates that are running. If you find out this guy's a loser and he's spent all his own money, why in the hell would you want to give him the checkbook to your city? You know, stuff like that. I mean, it's just common sense. If we just start using common sense again, I think we can pull ourselves out of this bullshit. It's going to take us forever, a very, very long time, to pay off all the debt that we have, but we can do it if we stop the spending, the stupid spending, and bring jobs back where people can afford to take care of themselves and their own families. Every person I've ever talked to that's been taken off the street that because they were alcoholic or drug addict, once they got sober, got a job and started paying their own bills and then started a new family of their own, I've never seen people so proud and happy to have made a better life for themselves and to see that one day their child will have a better life because they made changes for themselves. And it all starts with us, one person at a time, to make a difference on what happens to our future. And, sitting around fighting and arguing about it doesn't help anything. It's our actions that make a change. That's what I'm saying. So you guys can either agree with me or not. I don't really give a shit because that's my thought. That's what I honestly believe as an Air Force brat. So that's just the way it is. But go ahead, Orange Hat. I'll shut up for a minute.
If I may also point out, now, yes, my thoughts may not have been perfectly thought out. Obviously, there are easily ways that you could poke holes in it day in, day out, because obviously no system is perfect. You're never going to have a perfect system. Not even our current system is perfect because obviously it's fucking corrupt as shit right now. But as I was saying, Palpatine, first off, when he started, yes, when he became emperor, he started pushing a lot of shit. And that was obviously evil. I'm very much aware of who Palpatine was and whatnot in Star Wars. Star Wars happens to be a very passionate thing for me. I meant as a Palpatine is you go to the extreme steps for a little bit and end as the Maximus or Cincinnatus or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You are willing, or you do what needs to be done and you step down. Obviously, it's not titled in a satisfactory way for some people. Obviously, they're going to go to the extremes and obviously assume the worst. In what I mean, I'm not the best, or I'll also be the first to admit I'm not the best fucking person to articulate things. I never have been, never will be. So yes, I do sometimes or say things that are not articulated perfectly. So unfortunately, that's something I also have to live with. So yeah, I will take a little bit of advice from somebody who is messaging me that maybe sometimes I will also have to maybe write down some shit to articulate it a little bit better. But the point is, unfortunately, the system right now that we have isn't working. You're going to have somebody who is going to make the hard fucking choices, who is going to have a little less compassion to actually make those hard choices, who are not going to have to be weighed down by the, oh shit, unfortunately, some people are going to have a very bad experience in order for this shit to happen. Yes, you're going to have somebody like that. Unfortunately, that is what is required for shit to get better.
If I may give a solution now, because I think everyone has taken a crack at it, but I haven't.
Okay, go ahead.
I think you would need someone with a great deal of compassion. You would need someone to look at the nation and say, I'm going to have to do some very bad things that I'm going to hate myself for. But if I don't do them, things aren't going to get done. What I would suggest is putting one person in charge, taking the very best of our youth, genetically engineering them to be super soldiers, giving them power armor, become an emperor, conquer the planet by force of arms, and then take us to the stars in like a giant great crusade to spread humanity, to take what is ours, the heavens. We should call him like the God Emperor of mankind. See, that's the problem, Orange. It's not that I don't like your solutions. Some of them are practical and they're real. And there are hard decisions. And the idea of a strong man, of a Cincinnatus, and I use the term because that is really what you're getting down to. That is a real person that existed. When you try to start making solutions and govern by quoting Star Wars, anything that comes after that is absurd. The ideas that you put forward are scary because they've happened before. They've happened in Germany. They've happened in China. They've happened in Russia. They happened in Italy. These are all things that every one of us know. It's not that I ridicule the idea for the laughs, although that is a nice benefit. It's the fact that these are scary thoughts. And if you have to write things down to it, it's more articulated. I understand that completely. But if this is where your mind goes, that's frightening, man. I wish I had an ultimate solution for it. The idea of one guy taking over is a great idea. I'm a far right guy. That means a monarchist. Everybody likes to say fascism. That's a far left ideology. I like the idea of one person taking charge and fixing things. True. The problem is to make the decisions that you're doing. And this is what I asked at the very start of this conversation is, do you have an extreme, a line in the sand that you won't cross? Because most Americans do. And the minute you say, well, we're going to start executing all the people on death row, regardless of whatever outstanding circumstances, that's a line too far for most Americans. When you say that, well, there'll be a secret organization of people that will shoot the president or whoever takes over if he doesn't step down in 8 years, isn't practical and not real. If the guy's been running things for 8 years, then he's going to have ultimate power. He's probably not going to step down. Not to mention, what do our allies think? What exactly would be our foreign policy with one guy in charge of everything? You're talking about, well, you're quoting Star Wars, but I think what you really mean is Rome. See, this is the problem when we come with these extreme ideas. They're fun to talk about. If that's all this is just doing it for the sake of the lulz and shitting around, that's fine. The problem is you are far too more intelligent to make that kind of comment. You actually believe these things because you believe that this is an actual solution to the problems we face. And this is what I meant, Janet, earlier when I said that the general public have apathy because they don't know what to do to fix the problems. Mm-hmm. This is an example of that. Because we don't know. There aren't any good solutions. That is a horrible one. Because as someone in the comment section said earlier, what kind of America do you have left at that point? You don't. Once you go down that road, you don't go back. Mm-hmm. Thomas Jefferson said, a little revolutionary now and again is a good thing. Well, that's easy to say. It's a hell of a lot harder to do, especially in 2024. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to think of, I think what is probably the most practical is you take it bit by bit. You take one problem and you find a solution to it. Let's take immigration. Build a wall, deport as many people as you can. When that issue is taken care of, or at least in hand, then you go to the next one. Whatever you decide that may be. The problem is getting enough people to agree to one course of action. And in America in 2024, that isn't a real idea. So I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if there is one.
But here's a frightening scenario. Solution. Here's a frightening scenario that, again, Emperor, we're discussing it right now, and Janet has discussed it too, theoretically. Because again, in Janet's mind, she believes that there will not be an election this year. Okay. Now, taking that, so let's pretend that could happen. What would make that happen? Martial law. What would get us to the point where it's a happy medium between what what Orange had
House
said?
Of Cards.
So then, we like I said, World War II occurred, Korea, Vietnam, the Cold War. There was never an implementation of the president or anybody saying we have to have martial law lockdown until it happened recently in 2020. And you had at that time, don't forget, you had employers telling people what to do. You had, and it was a mandate, but they shut down churches. They shut down schools. They shut down public venues. They left open
still took place
by ballot.
Okay.
By ballot, and then you know what happened there. You know what happened in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, and other states where they did certain things that they changed the law, but they said, well, it's an extraneous circumstance. We have to change it. I know it wasn't against the law, but we're going to ensure it's. And then you had the media say, oh, it's the safest election ever, and all that stuff. All of the video evidence, like 2000 Mules came out, and we saw it on X. But they said, no, don't look at your lying eyes. Trust us. And you see it now. The NPR lady yesterday, and everyone's saying that, oh, we have to listen to our truth. What we're trying to say, you're speaking the truth. We're going to tell you what the news is, what really is. Mm-hmm. We have to shut down X. You have to shut down this discussion. Social media is bad, and you have the Republican solution to all this bullshit is, oh, let's ban TikTok, which is retarded. They're just that right then there. That is the solution. Yes, we must stop this application. That's the extreme already. So they are implementing the stream in some instances, which I don't want them to ban TikTok. I think it's stupid
the question was, what would have to happen to prevent elections?
Correct.
So what is it?
I don't know. I think a nuclear attack or a mass casualty event occurring very close to the election time frame.
Have you ever seen the House of Cards, the one on Netflix?
No.
Okay.
No.
Great show. In the very final season, or the second to final season, that is actually what happens, because they know they're going to lose the election. So Frank Underwood, or the Kevin Spacey character, comes up with an idea that the terrorists that they're trying to fight starts flying into, they make a big deal about a terror network in the United States, and they're able actually to prevent the state of Ohio from allowing their polling stations to close. They stop it for several days to buy them time so they can embarrass the guy they're running against. And then when they reopen the polls in Ohio 3 days later, he's able to get enough of the votes. And what they do is they make it seem like they had weapons of mass destruction. Now, it turns out what they were talking about was a group of like 5 or 6 people that really wasn't a threat. They weren't really here in the States. But through machinations, because it's a TV show. But the idea was that a nuclear bomb threat in one state was enough to prevent the ratification of the election.
When did the show come out?
2008, 7.
Oh my gosh! So
to be honest, I would have to go back and look. It's a really good. It's a really great show.
Kevin Spacey stars in it, right? As the president.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I haven't seen it though. I haven't seen it before.
He bases the character off Bill Clinton because he's buddies with him, so they are Democrats. But the way they act, I mean, some of the comments, like the one guy, he not to get off target here, but the Frank Underwood character, the president, suspends all handouts, social welfare, because we can't afford it anymore. And he says, well, we're going to suspend it. The government's not here to give you a handout. And if that doesn't work, we'll try something else. And then if that doesn't work, we'll try something else. It was a hell of a speech. I don't think any Democrat I know would ever give it.
Right.
It's a great show. But the point being, and it was an example that it was a nuclear threat that prevented one state from ratifying their election for several days. Sorry, Janet, go ahead.
Okay. The reason and I've said it many times already on this show and others, that I feel that we probably won't have an election this year. And the reason is because of all this escalation you've seen with Ukraine, Russia, and Iran, Gaza, Israel, Egypt, all that area over there. It's all a mess. Okay. And then you have China wanting to take over Taiwan, all this different stuff, all going on at the same time, that we're all fighting basically in the streets because people are wanting us to stop the stuff going on in Gaza. People are rooting and yelling and blocking roads and streets in multiple cities in multiple states, saying death to America, and all this different stuff going on, right? And I believe that our government was responsible for the pipeline explosion. That was Russia providing oil to Ukraine, not Ukraine, but to the UK, all that stuff. And I believe that our government somehow is going to take out a lot of the power grids in different areas. I don't know how, by doing something like what happened with the Oklahoma City bombing with one truck filled with fertilizer and other bullshit. Okay, because when they watched the Tucker Carlson interview when they were talking about the camps, okay, before they're coming over the border in their training camps, okay, you can watch the videos and it's evidence showing that this stuff is happening. These people are coming over the border. We don't know who they are, but people in our government are meeting them at airports and strategically taking these people after they give them money, cards, shoes, clothes, backpacks, stuff, put them on planes and buses and taking them to different cities. Why?
So Janet,
not just poor people coming over the border. Wait a minute, I'm not finished yet. Bringing these people over for specific reasons. And I think they're going to be called on these cell phones that are being supplied to say, okay, it's time. And then you're going to have a little backpack go off here, another one go off over there, whatever, take down some power grids. And then they can say, oh, we're being attacked. We don't know if it's Hamas. We don't know if it's Russia. We don't know if it's China, but we have to close down all the states. And so everybody, it's declare martial law until they can find out who's doing what. Okay, even though our government is behind all of it. That's what I think. And that's why they're leaving the border open. That's why all the things, it's been step by step by step by step preparing, because they're going to do anything they have to keep Trump from getting in office, period. And the last thing, they've already tried to kill him multiple times. So I'm just saying, that's what I believe.
Okay. So minus that last part you said about assassinating of Trump.
Uh-huh.
If they do all those other things, this will look bad on Biden, won't it?
No, it won't. No, it'll make him look like a hero to all the people that are rooting for Biden now.
They're already going to vote for him, though.
How could it? How could it? If there's an attack that's launched by cells here, why would that goes again? Why would they celebrate Biden for that? It's an attack going on.
Because Biden is going to shut down everything and say they're going to get to the bottom of it. And then they'll capture whoever they say is the one responsible. And they'll say that it's Russia behind
Wouldn't he take the blame, though, that it happened on his watch?
Yes, that's what I thought.
No, they've been blaming everything on Trump anyways. Everything that's happened since Biden's been in office.
So they're going to blame this on a guy who's not in power, but the guy who is in power
is now. They're doing it right now. Why wouldn't they stop doing it just because it happens next month? So
the only way
you guys don't see that. You don't.
No. Well, they are doing it here. I'll give you this much. Merrick Garland did earlier this year mention they are going after the parents. They're going after this white nationalism. They're going after all these things. So the only way that your scenario would work is if the attack happened by a white nationalist, because every single time there's a mass shooting, they always say it's a white guy, right? No, it's not. It's a black guy. Okay, stop. Let's not say it. Like the SUV, it's an SUV who killed people, not the guy, the black guy driving it. Or no, the Nashville, it's a trans. No, it's not. It's a trans. But we can't release a manifesto. Break out. It's good. They want a Kyle Rittenhouse who does something really bad, a Nick Sandman who does something really bad. They want that Perry guy that shot 96. They want another George Floyd to cause the problems, and then blame white people.
Well, everyone that came over the border and
it's
those
not white.
They're not white. No, yeah, many of them were white. Tons of them. They're from all over the world. And
they're not white. They're Chinese. They're what? Go ahead.
Nothing is going to stop what's going on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's going on?
And nothing is going to stop what's going on in our country right now. And you want to know why? Because people are fucking lazy. You want a black pill opinion? This is my black pill opinion.
You mean apathy?
Or yeah,
I mentioned that.
There's the lovely thing called the Declaration of Independence that we have. Everybody knows the long train of abuses line. Yes, I assume we all do. Yes or no?
What? Go one more time.
I don't
the
know.
The long train of abuses. We all know of the long train of abuses line in the Declaration of Independence. Yes? Of one a long train of abuses.
Like what? I'm sorry. I'm legitimately not understanding. A long line of abuses from the Declaration of Independence. You mean the long line of abuses the colonials had to put up with to get to there? Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, you're talking about the
it's
quote.
the line in the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, which
when a
one?
long train of abuses.
Yeah, no. He's making the point. He's quoting the Declaration. Okay. All right, now I got you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes, and it is their right. That ends with, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and then provide guards for their future security. Nobody is willing to do that now. People are so fucking lazy because they are so fucking dependent on the government that nobody, or no matter how pissed off they get, they're not willing to stand up and do what needs to be done. They're not willing to stand up and do it. The government actually won that fucking war. Because nobody is willing, or yes, we can go to the polls and vote all the fucking live long day. And unfortunately, we keep on voting for corrupt individuals. As I said, Trump is a Band-Aid. You're not going to get anybody after Trump who has the same values, unless you're actually willing to put in somebody like Vivek Ramaswamy, but even he doesn't have the full same values as Trump. Trump actually does care about the well-being of this country more than anybody else does. Maybe not completely, but more than anybody else does that we currently see as options for the presidency. But until people are actually willing to stay or to go that far and actually take back the government from those who are corrupt, then they honestly should not really freaking complain. Because unless they're willing to do it, what are they complaining about?
To clarify, are you advocating for armed revolt against the current government?
No, I am not currently doing that because, one, I'm not stupid enough to admit if I was or wasn't. Currently, no, I am not. But if the government does go to the point where it actually does reach the limits of tolerance of the people, then maybe, but they won't, or they still won't do it because
so
they'll
it hasn't
continue
reached that
letting
level
it
yet.
happen. Currently, no.
Go ahead, go Janet.
No, I want to say something. Okay, I'm not a person that believes that we can put Trump in office and, well, guess what? This party, everything's great now. No, I'm not stupid.
Oh, it's not going to be
okay. I may act stupid and I may sound stupid, but I'm not really stupid. Trump is just a symbol of freedom to a lot of people like me. Okay. It's us. Just like I say every single time I'm on here, it's us, the American citizens whose asses are at home, paying their bills, following the law, and trying to raise their kids. That's who's going to make a difference. But we have to feel that we have someone up there at the top that's going to do our bidding when we need it. Okay. And we don't have that. I don't have any faith in any of these people. After the vote that they did last week and shit, and the money that they're spending, just like that tweet I showed everybody about the $60 billion. I mean, where in the fuck are we supposed to get this money? Excuse my language. But where is it supposed to come from? It's taking it out of our children's piggy banks to pay these fucking assholes that all they do is sit up there and jack off and spit on the rest of us. That's all they care about. They don't care about us. They don't care about our needs as an American citizen. Well, guess what? When Trump goes to a rally and he speaks, I believe him. Why? Because after 4 years of him doing everything he said he was going to do when he got into office, he tried to do all of it. He tried to build the wall. He tried to bring jobs back. He took us out of the UK bullshit. He did a buttload of shit. He followed through with what he said. So guess what? I trust his ass more than I trust any of these other people. And that's why they don't want him to be president. That's why they're willing to kill him or do whatever they have to, because we love him. We trust
if they wanted him dead, he'd be dead.
He brings out in us
but yeah,
America.
Don't they, wouldn't taking him out make him a martyr, and then would be the
that's why they
for,
won't kill him.
That's why I don't think they're gonna. I don't think that's the only reason why I think he's not dead. That's why they want to put him in prison. They want to do everything they can to degrade him, make it, and then they're gonna, once they get him in prison, even if it's all fake, this is all fake shit. Okay, because Hillary has done it. She had a illegal server in her fucking bathroom that had China, people could read it, everything. It was bullshit. Nothing happened to her. All this shit that Biden has been doing, hiding shit for his son, embezzling money, all the shit that we have evidence of, nothing happens to him. Nothing happens to any of these people, but Trump, every single thing that they brought against him, they haven't had one shred of evidence to prove any of it.
Because you have like, forget Alex Jones and like Laura Loomer, but you have like Cheryl Atkinson, you have Catherine Herridge, you have a few other journalists that are now trying to come out and saying, hey, they are really doing these things.
Lara Logan.
Lara Logan. Yeah, they did all these things, but the Catherine Herridge, again, she went up to on Congress and told them, hey, they are doing these things, and people, it's coming out where you have James O'Keefe giving the expose, and they're not covering it in the mainstream media, but they're covering it on X. They're covering it. We're hearing about it right now, but again, that's the counter. But I go back to the whole thing where it's going to be a mass casualty event that's going to cause something. But again, I rack my brain. How can Biden still remain in?
Okay, because once they get Trump in prison, okay,
right,
then you're going to have the Senate and the Congress. They're going to get together and they're going to say they're going to fix a law that Biden's going to sign. Okay, that he can't run.
You want to know why he's not going to go to prison?
He can't run because he's in prison and he committed whatever acts that they pretend that he did. Because right now we're one vote away from anything they want. One vote. That's it. And he's about to be gone too. So we're going to end up losing all of it. We're going to lose all of it.
It's just one.
Because we've given our government over to a bunch of money grubbing pieces of shit that are jack off, kiss anyone, fuck kids. They do everything. They do it in the wide open. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about us. Because all they care about is what they have. Okay, and they're not going to give it up for any of us, not for us, for sure. We're nothing. They don't even think they're taking the middle class out, so we have nothing. They want to be able to come to your house after you've worked all these years and take your home from you and give it to the illegals that lick their ass, clean their floors, and do all their shit for them, and put me in the street. So I end up dying because then once I'm in the street and I'm fighting against my own people around me that think I'm a criminal because the government just came in like Homeland Security did to P. Diddy to vote his houses. And it wasn't even the FBI and it wasn't cops. It was the Homeland Security. So why would Homeland go in? Because P. Diddy had some shit on some high people.
Exactly.
That's why they went in and took all the shit. And then they're going to throw out the little tidbits that they want you to think that P. Diddy's such a bad guy and all the other shit's just going to disappear. Just the same reason why none of the Epstein peoples, not one person that raped and hurt all those kids that were taken to Epstein Island has been arrested. Not one. Guess what? They're still out there fucking kids over and killing kids, sacrificing kids, drinking their blood or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not involved. But the thing is, the fact that nothing has ever been put out. And look what happened to J6ers. They're sitting in jail with no day in court. And all the film that we've seen is proven that it wasn't an insurrection at all. But does that change anything? No, it doesn't matter. We have a fucking constitution. If you have no laws and no people to uphold the law, because they're all corrupt, because all they care about is taking you and me and everyone on this panel and everyone in this chat and giving you a big fuck you. Give me your fucking money and do what we tell you. Because we're the government and we have to do what we say. Period. That's it. That's what we are right now, today, as I'm sitting in this chair. So tell me I'm wrong.
You're right. You're right.
To me,
there is a flaw there.
Tell me I'm wrong about everything I said.
Where's the flaw?
I want to hear it. I want to hear it. From
one, they can't.
I want to hear Emperor tell me where I'm wrong and everything I just said.
I didn't say anything. I've been listening.
No, I'm asking you to tell me I'm wrong. Tell me what I did, what I said, explain anything that I said to you that isn't happening right now, and that I'm wrong about any of it.
I would say a lot of what you said is possible.
Okay.
Well, I think you're looking for an argument here. You're not really going.
I'm not looking for an argument. I just want you. I'm just wanting you to tell me where I'm wrong in my assessment of why I feel that we won't have an election coming up. And I gave you all the scenarios about why I firmly in my heart believe we're not going to have one.
Well, we kind of covered this.
They're going to do everything they can that we will have an election if Trump is in prison, and they take that right away from him.
Okay.
So
we covered a lot of this last week. I think Orange was in the middle of saying something, so why don't you let him finish, and then I will respond.
I'm done with my rant this time.
I'm going to have to use an example here, which you all know the Alec Baldwin situation. Yes. Just hear me out.
Yeah.
This does play to it.
Yeah.
She said that they're going to make laws to charge Trump with. There's just one problem. They can't do that. We already seen that Alec Baldwin was charged with a crime that was put on the books after he committed said crime, and they had to drop that charge due to the fact that the law wasn't on the books at the time that crime or act, which became a crime, was committed. They cannot create something and say he committed this back then to charge him or to charge Trump with. That won't happen. No matter how hard they try, it won't happen. Not to mention, if Trump is put in prison, he's still able to be elected.
True.
They are
it only takes one state.
They are
one state take his name off the ballot, and he won't get enough.
They've already attempted that, and they went to the Supreme Court and was overturned.
I know, but what I'm saying is,
they already tried that,
prison,
and the Supreme Court is currently knocking that shit down. And if he is put in prison, it ain't gonna matter, because honestly, my belief is, if he is put in prison, if they freaking allow him to be put in prison, this country's at war. That might actually be the tipping point that people are waiting for, where people will actually do armed revolt. That is my opinion. I'm not saying that I support it. I'm not saying that I think it should happen. I mean, yes, I'm fed up with a lot of the shit in this country. And yes, I have said some inflammatory shit, obviously. But I do not believe that Trump going to prison should be the tipping point to an armed revolt, even though I do believe it may actually be the tipping point because people are going to make some really stupid decisions. Because unfortunately, there are people online, yes, even on X, that worship Donald Trump, that think he can do no fucking wrong. I myself have called that man a retard on video on my own channel because he believes that violent video games lead to people committing mass shootings. I am evidence that that is not true. That is not something that happens. Because if it wasn't for violent video games, I would probably already be in jail for committing mass murder, if that was true. Because I wouldn't be here I would be in jail. Because me playing all those violent video games back when I was younger, Mortal Kombat and all those other things, those were my my venting, my outlet to actually vent my frustrations out on a video game rather than actually going to a goddamn school and shooting it up because I couldn't handle the shit, or because I was always dealing with shit there. So yeah, when it comes to the blind worship of Trump, that shit is ridiculous. And that is what we also do need to fear, because you are going to see a lot of the people who do blindly worship him, they might actually do something stupid. Where January 6th was a protest and there were a couple of people who did some stupid shit, sure. I mean, I'm not going to blindly say that January 6th was not an insurrection and yada yada. It wasn't an insurrection. There were a few people in there that did do some stupid shit. Yes, there are people who were throwing shit around in those offices. That is on footage. That is on video and shit. So those people, yes, I do condemn those actions. But the people who are walking in there peacefully, they didn't do shit, and yet they were arrested. But the people who are blindly supporting Trump, the people who are saying that he could do no wrong, and if you disagree with him in any shape, way, or form, you are a fucking idiot. Well, I'm sorry, but you are a fucking sycophant if you think he can do no wrong. Everybody is flawed, including Trump. And while I am indeed voting for him in the next election, I am sorry, Janet, I do disagree with you. I do believe there will be an election. But I do agree with you that unfortunately the country is going to be going through a lot of shit.
One. I want one. I pray every day that I'm wrong, but in my heart, that's what I feel, and I've said it many times.
I hear you. I get it. And I understand your fear too.
And I work the polls, and I'm doing all these things so that it doesn't happen. But everything that I'm seeing going on with our government, that's the only path that I see. I can't see another path, and that's why I wanted Emperor to kind of disagree with me and tell me where I'm wrong. So
you're wrong.
There is New York is trying to do that shit because John M. Yeah, he said New York is trying to do that. New York has the best chance of this whole Stormy Daniels thing is most likely going to come up to a nothing burger. They're going to try hard and whatnot, but as soon as Trump submits that document to the courts, in which Stormy Daniels there is a signed document by Stormy Daniels that states there was no fucking affair, then automatically that claim of hush money is void. They can't do it. The GA thing, the Georgia thing, they can try and try, but if the Supreme Court comes out and says, there is presidential immunity applies, guess what? They may not care about real evidence, but until such time as this fucking country fails, I am going to believe that there is still some law and order in this country, even as little as it is. Call me naive if you want, but I'm still going to believe that there is a little bit of hope left in this country and hold out for a little bit of law and order. Because already we have seen that the courts have been failing to get Trump. They have tried time and time again, and they are failing on almost every single juncture. So don't tell me that the courts are going to lock up Trump just because of these charges here or those charges there. The law system is actually working in Trump's favor currently.
Well,
so until I actually see that there is a full bullshit corruption,
how is he supposed to pay for that?
Or the $180 million? He got that knocked down from over $500 million. Mm-hmm. He got that knocked down from over $500 million because he cited the Constitution. That is called, or I can't remember exactly which.
The woman who accused him of raping her a long, long time ago, and yes, guess what? That money.
She was and yes, that is already being appealed, and that is already also happening where he might actually be suing her. Trump is also suing ABC News and George Stephanopoulos. I'm hoping that he actually might try suing Alan Richardson.
Sad truth about all of this stuff with lawfare, okay? It's almost every person that went into the prison for J6, they've lost their jobs, they've lost their homes and stuff.
Yes, they've lost their livelihoods, but that is why a presidential pardon will come in handy.
Well, I know, exactly. But it doesn't give them back this shit they lost.
It doesn't give back what they lost. And yes, honestly, if I were Trump, one, they would be, or the ones who didn't commit any stupidity, because I do believe those ones also got arrested too, but the ones that didn't, who were just going on a fucking tour, those ones should be allowed to sue the federal government and also to sue the specific people on the January 6th committee. They should also be allowed to sue the FBI and otherwise. All those who were involved specifically in their arrests, they should be brought to a civil trial or to a civil lawsuit. Yes, I know that that a pardon won't replace anything they lost, but it will be on their official record that they had, or that there was no, or that they can't be judged by any criminal act or by any thing that they were charged with back then, or on record, because then they can actually sue for discrimination. If I am remembering my my limited amount of law correctly.
Okay, is everybody worn out on talking about this subject now?
No. Well, there's also Title IX that just went out the window.
Well, you asked me to tell if you were wrong or not, but I think we got past that.
I mean, if we want to talk about the thing that I have up, still
yeah,
waiting
Title
to be put
IX
up
is crazy.
Yeah. Is
That's
this
crazy.
it right here? The thing in the center?
Yeah, the Riley Gaines thing there. So yeah, this happened, folks, and this is actually something that I would like a lot of women's opinions on. So if you're a woman in the chat, definitely speak up on this. So the Biden administration has just officially abolished Title IX as we knew it. Now sex equals gender identity. In a nutshell, the new rewrite means men can take academic and athletic scholarships from women. Men will have full access to bathrooms, locker rooms, etc. Men could be housed in dorm rooms with women. Students and faculty must compel their speech by requiring the use of preferred pronouns. And if the guidelines above are ignored or even questioned, then you can be charged with harassment. Here's what I would do if I actually had the money to do it. I would sue the federal government on basis of constitutional violation. And that entire Title IX would act, and I would also, or if I were the Republicans, I would also put forth a bill to put back Title IX the way it was. Because one, this title essentially restricts free speech. It restricts your First Amendment rights. Therefore, automatically, it's null and void. If somebody was to sue, guess what? They would win.
But does this go to the Supreme Court now? Or some
it would have to go to, or it would most likely, it would go all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court would rule that this Title IX is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean,
the Supreme Court ruled against this administration a few times, and they just do it anyways. So, what's another ruling going to change?
And that is a failure of the government, because the government, and before anybody fucking comes at me when I mention this, just fucking hear it out. A lot of people went after Trump saying, oh, he's a twice impeached president. They love to fucking bring that up. Yes, I believe we can all agree that everybody loves to bring up that he has been twice impeached. Well, guess what? That is something that is on Trump's record. Unfortunately, I know it sucks. If they were to impeach Joe Biden for all of that shit that he is doing, going against the law and whatnot, violate or committing high crimes and misdemeanors, having an impeachment on record does have, however little most people will think, it actually does have some weight to it. He may not be convicted in the Senate, he may not be removed, but god damn it, at least the fucking impeachment will be on record. Unfortunately, the fucking Republicans are too cowardly. And yes, Elise Stefanik, my own congresswoman, I am fucking talking to you. You're a fucking coward because you haven't put forth the fucking impeachment. They're already saying that the impeachment inquiry is done because the fucking Democrats called the goddamn Republicans bluff. There's no more need for an impeachment inquiry if you're not going to impeach. And yes, he should be on trial for treason. You are absolutely right, Raven. I do agree. But unfortunately, treason as we know it, the definition, and treason, the law, unfortunately, are two different things. That was pointed out to me by one of my brothers outside of social media. But the thing, because treason on the law means or is basically you have to prove that there was done with intent, that somebody is acting in cohorts with a different world government against the interests of the United States. where treason as we know it definition is less or has less requirements to prove. Joe Biden is guilty of the definition of treason. Unfortunately, they would have to prove that he is guilty of the law of treason.
But this right now, what we're talking about, Title IX in the Biden administration, just eviscerating it, basically raping it in a way, so that men are now.
He set back our country years.
So then
he just brought us back to before the 70s.
Yeah, but this right then and then is something that that Trump should run on. Hey, they're doing this, they're doing that, and tout this is
oh,
insane.
He will. I'm pretty sure he will. I mean, as soon as this, I mean, believe me, there are or if Donald Trump would actually pay attention a lot more to social media, like people like Black Conservative Perspective, people like this right here, which I'm pretty sure somebody will freaking talk to him about Title IX's rewrite. He will definitely bring that forward. But if he were actually to look at some of the stuff that is on YouTube, yes, a lot of it is speculative opinion. I get that. But believe it or not, he can actually use it. He can still fucking use it because a lot of people are going to believe him anyway. And a lot of people will actually think twice on certain things, be like, well, yeah, I mean, this sort of shit is happening.
Yeah.
One thing that Black Conservative Perspective actually says a lot of is the best way to defeat Democrats is to give the Democratic voters what they want. Because you did that, you gave them Joe Biden. Look at how many Democrats have actually betrayed Joe Biden and are actually saying that they are going to vote for Trump because they realize that fucking Joe Biden is a lame duck president that is taking away their rights.
Oh my God. Sorry.
So yes, give them what they want and they will realize real fucking quick that's not what they wanted. Unfortunately, too many people voted for Biden simply because they hated Trump instead of actually voting on policy. Unfortunately, you can't change anything without violating the Constitution because the Constitution is very well was very well thought of by people smarter than us.
I want to ask the chat a question about what you just talked about. I want to ask the chat. If any of you have a daughter, let's just say she's 8 to 11, and you're at a grocery store or anywhere, okay, and you want to take her to the bathroom. So she goes in and there's a guy in there, whether he's shaving his genitals or whatever, but he has every right to be in the bathroom. What would you do? Or what would you do if your daughter came out of the bathroom because she said there was a man in there? What would you do? I mean, how do we defend our kids and our daughters from this kind of stuff happening to them at school? I mean, does this
not much
mean
you
that
can do without violating the laws?
In elementary school, and they can go in the bathroom, and you can have a grown teacher, a male teacher, or the cleaning guy, or the guy mowing the yard, or a guy working on a box or a piece of equipment, and he's allowed to go in your little girl's bathroom to go to the bathroom. Just think about it. What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to pull your kid out of school? Are you supposed to quit your job and homeschool now because now you can't trust whether your daughter can go to school and not be confronted with a man's genitals in the bathroom, that she thinks that she can just go in there and go to the bathroom and wash her hands? I mean, think about it. We have a president that doesn't give a shit about your children or your daughters. So
he says he does, but he doesn't.
No, I know actions speak louder than words.
Yep.
And that proves that he don't give a shit. I mean, he's a guy that's already in his daughter's diary saying she took showers with him. So he thinks it's perfectly okay for him to go in a girl's bathroom or go up to her in the bathroom and smell her hair while she's taking a wee. And we're supposed to just think it's okay because that's normal shit. Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about why I believe that they're destroying our country from the inside out. They're tearing apart families. Okay. And I hear so many of my guy friends talking about how they were raked over the coals when they got a divorce because it was so hard for them to be able to get 50-50 custody for their kids. You know, because the courts and the systems don't want families. Okay. They want all of us torn apart to where we're having to rely on the government to help us. Okay. That's what I see. And I'm just saying it from a woman's perspective. I'm saying it from a woman, as a mom. I fear for our family, for our children. I really do. I mean, that's all they got to do. If they rape enough kids, okay, they're going to have enough future rapists to step up and take over when they're not around anymore. I mean, that's why they're protecting all these rapists on P. Diddy's list and on, what's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever, Ghislaine or whatever her name is. Okay, she's in prison and not one person has been arrested for the crime that she's in prison for. Where's the uproar? I don't understand. I'm going nuts. I've left the big city and went to the Hillbillyville to try to keep myself safe and my family safe. And it's getting to where there's no place safe. There's no place safe.
Did you just make fun of those hillbillies?
Well,
sorry.
It's just, I'm just saying, I went from being able to buy a daiquiri a block away, and now I have to drive 48 miles just to buy wine. So I've changed my whole lifestyle to try to protect my family and myself. And now the government is reaching out and ruining our schools. You can't even protect your kid in school. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see where it ends unless we take back our states. I just don't see any ending to this. If you have a son, you should be afraid for him too. If you don't have a daughter, your son can still be assaulted too in school. And you got a government.
Emperor, the Burning Man died, according to Emperor.
He did die? Because I knew he was in the hospital.
One less nutcase to worry about.
That's what's being reported on X and on some of the news sites. Yes.
Yeah, but basically the guy actually, his manifesto or his thinking was closer to what you think, Janet. He basically,
I never heard of this guy. So I didn't get my
he basically thinks that everything that the media, everything on the news, everything the media is telling you is a lie. It's all a distraction. They are going to do something that's going to cause no elections to occur, and they're going to have like the New World Order, one government rule is going to happen. And he basically, you know, he put something out on a Substack or something like that. I don't know what it is. I can't really talk about it here. Only on X or Rumble.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And I put something in the private chat. We can't really show some of it now, but it's Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan talked. If it's good to review it first, and maybe only an X or a Rumble discussion about MK Ultra and about what's going on out there.
I can turn off my YouTube.
It's up to you. It's up to you. I don't want to screw it.
I think we're missing an opportunity here. Next Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern time, here on YouTube, on X, on Rumble, at Jen from Another Planet. As a show of protest, she's going to immolate herself so that they do not take down Trump and the election this coming November. Don't miss it. It's a one-off show. I promise you there won't be a sequel to this one, folks. Let's break the internet. Let's try and get 500 views.
What am I going to do?
In now. What do you want to wear?
Immolate yourself. He's saying you're going to light yourself on fire.
Oh no, I'm not.
Just wear red. Just wear red.
I can't believe.
I think she would bring a lot more viewers to the
rating.
Or wear
week.
She would bring a lot more viewers to her channel if
I don't believe it's a one world government thing either. I don't believe that at all. I just think it's a bunch of greedy assholes that want to run this country and run it the way they want by tearing us apart and make us all dependent on pharmaceuticals and on
that's true.
Them to feed us, clothe us, and put us in our house. That's it.
But again,
they don't want us to own anything. They want us to take what we're given. That's
correct. What you're leading down is true. Number one, again, the creation of the Federal Reserve, the creation of the Rockefeller Foundation, and what they did with schools. Because basically DuPont and they created like the petroleum, and then they used the petroleum, what they couldn't do with oil. Let's create pharmaceuticals. Let's create additives so that they control the food supply, and they can then because again, remember, there wasn't this whole idea of working 40 hours a week, and you have to be, because again, when you were like, let's see, if you were a specialist, like a craftsman, you were an apprentice to somebody who had a trade, you became like in the 20s or the 30s, or even now. I do it now. If I want to build a computer, I build a computer. I want to build a car, build a car. But what they do now is that, oh, you're the guy that does the steering wheel. You're the guy that does the tire. You're the guy that does the dashboard. You're the guy that does the engine. You just do one part. So you are the cog in the machine. You don't know how to do everything. You know how to do one specific thing. So they teach, exactly. 1913, what they did. Well, 1912, remember, they say that they sank the Titanic and killed the people on board, so that they could get the creature from Jekyll Island released. So then,
wait. I haven't heard this one. Back up. No. I want no.
I never heard that before either. So
please tell me this Titanic theory. I need to hear this.
The Titanic there was actually a fire of the Titanic that would lasted 8 to 10 days.
Right. I've heard of that.
And then they basically put on John Astor, JP, but people that were against the Federal Reserve were on board the Titanic, and those that were for got out and were not on there. So that after April 12th, they sank it. Then the Rothschilds, and then all of the
bankers.
Bankers were doing this. Then they went to Jekyll Island and they said, let's set up the Federal Reserve Bank, and they passed it the next year. And then that's when they did that. Then they did the whole taxation. They started taxing people. So that was the last time that a family had wealth that was generational, because they basically had the death tax and all that stuff. So this is part of the first part of the plan. The second part was build the system so much that we control the Hearst, they controlled the paper, they controlled the media, the way they did things, and then they controlled the schools. And then let's make higher levels of the education. Let's start doing these things. So this is their 100-year plan to basically make people who just go to school, get degrees. Now they're giving policy and saying things have to be done. That's why you have Title IX and all that problem. That's why you have these gender study bullshit crap. That's why you have people that do basket weaving and all this stuff and have a degree that means nothing. But then again, going back to the food supply, that's why they said, okay, well, we don't want to basically have a cure for anything. Let's basically make the food, make people sick. It's planned obsolescence on the highest level, at every level. They can make a light bulb that lasts forever, but there is proof, documentation that when the light bulb was created, they made it so that it breaks, so you have to buy another one. They could build a car that lasts 50 years, but they don't, because they want you to break. That's why when people have their phones now, an iPhone or whatever, every year you have to get a new one because of X. Because again, you need to be more, because if people won't buy it, because that's why advertising is so great. Every time you see a TV commercial, ask your doctor about blah blah blah.
I have a question.
Side effects includes this and blah, blah, blah. It's all bullshit.
Was the iceberg in on it? Was it paid off to be part of the conspiracy?
No.
That was just a happy coincidence.
It's a coincidence, because again, the way that the steel that they used was also substandard,
right?
And going that, and that just it compounded everything. It weakened it so that it would have sunk anyway. Because the fire was on there already.
So the fire was put out before they got to the iceberg, because that's been documented and sworn on. I know about that.
Correct. But
so how does the iceberg thing floating. If the idea was to sink the Titanic, and obviously the fire didn't, Janet, knock it off. It's not a
What
feet
happened?
thing. Don't stop. She's listening to the weirdos in the chat.
They said they want me to show my feet.
Okay, God. Anyway, moving on. I have to hear the end of this conspiracy theory. All right, so wait, they put the fire.
Yes.
So then how does the iceberg come into play?
It's just a happy coincidence because it's cold weather, it's calm.
But without the iceberg, they wouldn't have sunk the Titanic. Wasn't that the goal?
No, it would have happened anyway because there would have been a rupture. Because again, hitting the iceberg was
Did they
just
deliberately buy crappy steel and bad rivets? Was that deliberate?
Yes, in my opinion.
So the Rothschilds and their allies forced the Irish to buy substandard steel in the hopes that on its maiden voyage it would sink. And the people who were against the World Bank.
Not only doing that, but the fire helped alleviate, cause the structural damage to occur because they were going to do something there, either a terrorist attack or something like that.
I thought they just wanted something that was on the boat. They
wanted to get rid of those guys that were voting against the Federal Reserve.
They wanted
Mother of
something
God.
that was on the ship to not come back.
Right.
Whatever it was. Yeah. That's the rumors I heard. Now I didn't hear anything about them saying that they built the ship shoddy, but the fact that any building or car or anything can be destroyed if you use the right stuff to destroy it.
Building 7 also
on certain joints,
epicenter of 9/11.
Steel with acid on it over time. And then if you got a bomb that goes up near it, it's going to collapse faster, things like that.
Yeah.
So I believe that kind of stuff can happen if the right people want something to happen.
Honestly,
but you have to have more than one person.
I don't think anything about the Titanic or any conspiracy theory concerning the Titanic has any real weight to it, aside from the fact that it was a freak accident that damn thing hit an iceberg. No, or because I have heard some crazy shit about the Titanic. I have heard that Cinco de Mayo date, Cinco de Mayo shit, has to do with the Titanic because a bunch of fucking mayonnaise sunk the Titanic. I've actually heard that as a fucking theory. I am not kidding. I have also heard that Godzilla fucking sank the Titanic. They actually made that, and after that fucking theory, somebody actually created art about it. I mean, I have heard some serious fucking
Yes, that's true.
John, I've heard of the Olympic one too. I've actually heard that story.
They switched it with the Titanic, and that was one that took the maiden voyage.
Correct.
I have heard that story before.
There was the sister ship to the Titanic. I am aware of that one. The ninth, yeah.
See,
there's that too.
There's theories on everything.
Sounds like James Cameron needs to do a remake. The true story of the Titanic.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many dumb shit that has come. I'm sorry. The way that, or me personally, I believe the fucking Titanic hit an iceberg. That was it. It sank, unfortunately. Some people survived. Other people didn't.
All right, Ruben, I want to ask. Hang on.
Here comes.
I'm serious now. I'm being serious. Do you believe that theory?
Which one?
The one you just told me about, the Titanic.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly believe it.
I have no follow-up questions.
There's so many other things that they've done because again, the deep state and the people behind the globalist are doing this in the long term. They've done this since the signing of the Magna Carta. They have done it for 6,000 years. They have fooled everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I laugh every time I see that fucking avatar.
Three different. Again, they created the Islamic religion. They created the Jewish religion. They created the Christian religion, all to control everything.
That soulified guy. Every time you pull it up, it's Zap Brannigan on. It's like his head photoshopped onto a Crusaders like knight.
Right here.
I'm sorry. I just find it very funny. I don't even know why.
I love Futurama.
It's something that Zap Brannigan probably would wear. Okay, I didn't mean to. Ruben, continue. So the Titanic hates Muslims. Go.
No. I'm just saying that it's been going on for a very long time. They've been doing that so that they can control everything. That's why you have the Pope and what he's been doing there. With all the religions are doing these things to just
where does
have
the Illuminati
the one
fit
I
into
believe.
that?
I believe this one.
have power to do power.
Do you believe the Prior of Sion?
Excuse me?
Do you believe in the Priory of Sion?
Oh, dear
Well,
Lord.
that's an
Now
evil
we're getting into
organization,
movies
yes.
again.
Okay.
That's
Just
an evil
curious.
organization, yeah. That they're behind all the child slavery and child, pedophilia and all that stuff. They're the ones that are actually doing all the blood sacrifices and crap.
Oh, I thought they were just trying to safeguard the bloodline of Christ. I didn't know they were into human trafficking. I suppose you got to fund it some way. Okay.
Well, they got to get the blood from someplace. That's
Yes. You're
out.
correct. Yeah, it's all fabrication to hide the truth. They want control.
John, we need a conspiracy theory shit show. Yeah. We should do a fucking shit show some Friday night where it's nothing but conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Let me know about that ahead of time. Please.
One thing, because a lot of people think that, that the child trafficking and stuff like that isn't really that big a deal. There is a documentary on YouTube that you guys can watch. It's called The Eyes of the Devil. And it's about 4 brothels. It's not in the United States, but the children in it are 10 and under. Okay. And this place is busy 24/7. And if you pay $500,000, guess what? You can buy yourself a newborn. So think about it. That's the kind of people we have out there.
Yep.
And it's a hard watch. But the one guy follows this one girl who tried to sell her baby because she was pregnant, the newborn, for money. And he ends up being able to work with the people that are involved and get the baby. So it's a really sad, horrible thing to watch. But I'm all for people knowing the facts about why they want these kids. It's because they make billions of dollars off of them around the world. That's why.
So what's so sad? What you said, what's so sad? If you go back, I think it was 2013, I believe, or 2003, one of the threes, where Rick Ballard, the one from Cries of Freedom, the Sound of Freedom, whatever the movie was, the whole the actual story that happened, they did an expose, 60 minutes, exposing what they were doing with human trafficking down there and how bad it was. And then it came, 60 Minutes did it. It was all like in the news and what a hero this guy is. The movie comes out and we're in the fucked up world we're in now. And then they're saying, and CNN was then saying, oh, it's a QAnon conspiracy. It's all made up. This is something that actually happened. This is what I'm saying. The influence of evil is out there. People are trying to rewrite history for their own purposes to say, oh, it's just a conspiracy theory. It actually happened. They're doing it now. They're kidnapping kids. They're doing the organs. You saw they did that. Planned Parenthood is the biggest organ. Black market organs of kids.
The documentary I was talking about, which anyone can watch, it's called The Eyes of the Devil.
Yes.
And it's don't watch it if they don't show anything. Most everything's blurred out, but just listening to the girl that's talking about wanting to sell her baby and stuff like that, and interviewing the people that are involved in the trade. And in the brothel itself, you got a couple women running it, and they keep the kids drugged up, okay? Because they say stuff like, I'm going to get upset. The children looking at the adults that are assaulting them and begging them to kill them, things like that. And that happens every day in the world, and we're fighting and bickering over dumb shit because we don't want to pay more in our taxes. But I just wish more people cared enough about what's happening in the real world and that we can make a difference, but we have to fight for the truth. And when we get the truth, we'll be able to save our towns and save our schools and save our kids. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, don't shut up. It's very serious because again, people come. Well, the left has screwed everybody up and to say reparations for slavery. There are more people slavery right now. There are more children who are being abused right now, and we're not doing anything because we don't give a shit as a society, because we're being, again, manipulated to not book care, to have the apathy, to not give a crap about what's going on here. Because again, the system was built up that yes, you have to how'd you say it? Because remember in the 50s and 40s, when you had a family, the father worked, the mother stayed home, but they said no, women have to work because you want to be in power. So that's why women had to leave, so that the school take over. So you had to give your rights up to your children to somebody else to take care of them, so that you had to work, you had to do this, you had to get this stuff. You need that TV, you need that brand new oven, you need this brand new car, you need to live a life, and you were just a wage slave to the system. And then, you need higher education, you need this, again, more practicality. And again, things getting more and more complicated, because again, a refrigerator is a refrigerator. Now it has electronics in there, it spies on you, and then you have your Wi-Fi, all of this. You need the latest gadgets, you need all this stuff. What do? You kill yourself, and people are killing themselves just for what little things that they want. And then people are just like, I can't do it anymore. I'm working hard. I'm killing myself. And then they do drugs. They drink alcohol. They're killing themselves for all this stuff. And they don't see the little things that are going on, the real evil that's out there. It's sad. They're being distracted.
The sad fact is, like what he's saying about nobody cares because there's way more pedophiles. And the reason there's more pedophiles is because when a child is sexually assaulted, when they're too young to process what's happening to them, it's hard enough on a grown person to choose to have sex with someone and then find out that the guy just wanted to have a one-night stand or whatever. Okay, that's emotional already. But when you have that happen to a small child, most little girls, once they have sex at such a young age, they can't have children. They're right. Damaged. Their cervix will not let them carry a baby or stay pregnant. Things like that nobody wants to talk about it. Many times in spaces, this topic would come up and we'd be talking about it, and people would say stuff like, "Oh, it's too early. I'm trying to drink my coffee. I don't want to hear about this kind of stuff. You guys are ruining my day." That's what I'm talking about.
I know.
Those are the people that I have a hard time with because they don't want to know that we have problems like this. I'm not saying you got to go out and become an activist, but the thing is, by talking to other people and letting them know that this happens to real people and that children are dying every day and being exploited and are begging to die.
Yes.
A 7-year-old kid looking you in the face and begging you to kill them because they're sick. They don't want to live.
Right.
Okay. And, I just have a hard time dealing with all of this because it's just people tell me that God only puts on you what you can handle. That isn't true. Okay, because God isn't in charge when it comes to things like this. God gave us free will. So people doing these things on this planet is a choice of a person doing it to another human being against their will.
Right.
And people say, well, they don't know it's not against their will if they want to have it. Well, how do you know a 10-year-old kid wants to have sex? Just because you say, come on, suck my dick. And they do it because you're an adult, not because they know what they're doing. That's the kind of rationalization I hear from people in spaces all the time. It's like, what the fuck planet are you from? It's sick and they're disgusting. They make me want to vomit. And I'm not the kind of person that's going to go and burn myself to death or any of that, because every day that I'm alive that God gives me, I'm trying to help other people, help kids and help themselves and free themselves from tyranny, from the lies of our government, and to fight for what is right, is what be able to own your own home, be able to have a job, be able to marry whoever you want. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you like the same sex. It's none of my business. As long as they're old enough to choose to want to be with you, it's none of my business. I could care less. It has nothing to do with me. If you want to sit and jack off and watch porn all day, I don't care about that either. As long as the porn you're watching is adult porn. There's no kids in it.
Well, they have AI. They have AI girlfriends and AI porn now too, and they're actually doing it where you actually pay. People are paying tens of thousands of dollars on a fit on non-real people, entertaining them because they're so lonely. Because again, it's been the whole Tinder and the whole aspect of the destruction of the nuclear family, where you basically, and they did this. They caused the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was caused by the United States. We went in there, we blew up our own ship and killed our own people so that we can go to Vietnam. And it was all a scheme. Number one, destroy the black family, arrest everybody for doing, marijuana and doing and changing crack. Cocaine is crack and crack is cocaine and all that stuff, and they can make the penalty worse for black families, and then telling black mothers, get your husbands out of here. And you had all they created a slave, another slave to the government. That's again on the plantation again, and then they basically, the people in charge are those draft dodgers, that are now still in charge, and they're the crypt keeper. They want to keep the power and to keep it going. Soros, Schumer, Pelosi, all these people, Biden doing the same thing. Just, I want power. I want this. Keep it, and doing it. It's insane. They want power. They want destruction.
I'm sorry I went off on that, but just hearing that we have a president of our country that thinks it's okay for grown men to go in the bathroom with women, okay, and where young girls could be, it is how does that make any fucking sense? I mean, am I nuts because I think that's ridiculous and sick? I mean, where's the people that are upset? I mean, there should be people are in the streets and blocking traffic because they're mad because Gaza, okay, is being attacked by a country that was attacked and people were murdered and raped. Okay, they're defending their people and they're trying to do that, but people are doing shit in our country for that, but not one of them is standing up in the streets bitching and moaning about all the kids that are being raped and mutilated in our country.
These are the same retards that are the people who are
where is the uproar over any of this shit? And about Title IX, why aren't they standing in the street saying this fucking pedophile president we have wants grown men to go in the bathroom with your kid? But they're not protesting for that. They're protesting about something in another country that we're spending billions of dollars on already. Right. That's what I'm talking about. Where's the common sense that we used to have when I was a kid that I thought we had growing up?
They don't dare do it because they think that protesting right now, the way that the left is doing it by actually being in the streets, cutting off traffic and shit, that's terrorism, by the way. That's actually fits under the definition of terrorism, to intimidate through for political purpose. Because you were stopping people and trying to intimidate others to go along with your political views. So yes, that does fall under definition of terrorism. The problem is nobody on the right, or because we all have fucking jobs and shit, we can't afford to fucking keep going or go out and do our own protests. All these fucking people out there who are doing their own fucking protests, they're fucking losers with no jobs.
Or they're getting paid. You can go on Craigslist and they're hiring people all the time.
Oh yeah, there's that fucking Twitch dumbass that is fucking spitting Biden's bullshit.
The only people that the only people that are getting screwed over are the people that have to go to work, like what Emperor was saying. He has a job. He can't just go and do some of the things that he wants to do. He doesn't mean he doesn't want to do it. It just means that he can't, because he's a responsible person that wants to make sure his stuff's taken care of, just like me. I'm trying to, I've got a lot of things going on in my life that I just don't talk about, but I'm trying to make changes for myself, for my own safety and for my family, and learn other ways to make money and to be able to take care of myself, because I'm not relying on some guy to come in and save me and give me money and shit. Oh yeah, you're pretty, I'll give you money. Fuck them. I'm not doing it I'm not getting money now. None of my shit is monetized, so I don't make any money off of any of it. I'm doing it because I care about what I'm seeing happen in my country. Right. And I'm an Air Force brat. I saw what my dad did for his job to train pilots and stuff so they could survive if they crashed. My dad was jungle survival instructor. He taught people how to live in the desert, how to live if you crashed on an island, things like that. That's what my dad did. Okay. And, you know, and he told me lots of stories about different things that happened and atrocities that happened to people that were taken by other countries because our plane happened to crash over there and things like that. And we should have the right to protect our borders. We should have the right to get up and go to school. And our daughters should be able to have the right to go to the bathroom and not worry about a man being in there.
Right.
For whatever reason, any grown man or boy or teenager that thinks they have to go to the girl's bathroom doesn't have the same rights as a little girl that has the right to go to the bathroom in a girl's bathroom. So why is there a difference? Why is he allowed, but she's not allowed to have the same right to go to the bathroom and feel safe? You're taking rights away from one and giving them to someone else because they're a better quality person. They're worth more. I mean, what the fuck? There's no answers and no one will give you any. That pisses me off. I get pissed off about it because all I'm wanting is answers. That's all I want, so that I can adjust my lifestyle to fit. If I'm going to be forced to live in this place, at least I'm going to do, I guess I'll just die on my front porch. Like I'm always saying, that's what's going to happen. They're going to come and try to take my shit and I'm going to die because they're going to shoot me full of holes because I'm not going to leave. That's just what's going to happen to me. I guess I'm just going to have to just realize that that's what's going to happen.
No one's going to shoot you.
So, oh well, I'll shut up.
No. But no. I agree that, you know, yeah, there's people have to, that's why I'm doing. I want to basically have a place where I can have my fort, you know, my land where I can live off the grid. You know, I already know what I want. I want to basically have a land where I can have fruiting trees, potatoes, onions, bees, chickens for eggs, goats for milk, and then just, you know, and land where I can, you know, grow all that food I need, and then, you know, be completely off the grid. As I said, I have no more possessions. The only thing I own is my computer, my instrument, and some clothes. That's it. I have nothing.
I plan on going to Viking. I plan on taking other people's stuff. I don't need land. You all have the land I will take from you. That's
you will not take my land. Yeah,
I think we're all starting to get to the end of our...
Once I'm dead, they're going to do whatever they want with my property anyways. That's what they want. They want to come and take it from me. They're going to have to take it from me.
Right.
That's just how I'm seeing it.
And on that happy note, I think we're all kind of getting to the end of our lines here as far as stamina. Do you want to do the mailbag? I've got a couple from people that last week. I don't know if you have anything that was sent in tonight. So
I'll check the box right now while you're reading.
Mailbag.
A couple things. These are from I'm guessing older listeners of mine, because for some reason you folks sent this to the old Emperor's Court email, which I barely monitor anymore. And now that we have a show email for this show, you don't have to email me anymore. That said, just a reminder, guys, this is not the Emperor's Court. So if you have negative comments about, you know, other people on the show, I'm not going to read them. All right. Don't be a dick. So, you know, I appreciate what you're doing, but enough. All right. That said, I do have a few that I can read. Emp, glad to hear you back in the airwaves. It's been too long. I did want to ask you last week, but God, some of you guys need to learn to fucking type. Last week, you said that the U.S. needs to stay out of the Israel-Hamas fighting, and then you immediately said the U.S. needs to slap down Iran. How can America do both? I'll be dialed in next Friday to hear your response. Reggie. All right. Good. Fair question. Good question. I think those are two very different things. I think that the America needs to stay out of the Hamas thing because we don't need to be. I think Israel is perfectly capable of taking care of that themselves. They have done so. Iran is a different story. We've been at odds with Iran since the Shahs took over back in the 70s. I mean, they threaten a lot of our regional allies as well as our shipping. Look, if you guys want to pay $8, $9, $10 a gallon for gas, we can do that if you ignore Iran. My point was, stay out of the Israel-Hamas thing. If Iran starts getting uppity and they're lobbing missiles at Israel, which they did, and I mean, we didn't get to that article that I had tonight. In fact, there's more bombings in Iraq earlier today. I mean, it's to me, two very different things. Iran's getting involved because they've got a lot of the different proxies are their groups, their terror groups. Hezbollah's being one of them, Islamic Jihad, a couple of the others, and they're lobbing missiles, and now the Houthis and all of them are shooting missiles at other people's shipping going on in the Strait because they're trying to get more pressure on Israel. Stepping into something like that, that's a different story. And what I mean by slapping down Iran is we continue to act like somehow they're this regional power, that this world power, because the way we tiptoe around them. And I think, if anything, this last attack in Israel shows that they aren't all that. When 99% of the stuff they did send gets shot down by us and the Israelis and the Brits, and half the missiles they launched didn't actually take off, that shows you that you don't have to take them as some kind of world threat. They're not. They're a regional power. Act like it. You know, I was talking to Varya about this, and he made a very good point during this attack. Just because you suck at war, because you didn't land a shot, doesn't mean you shouldn't be punished for launching drones and missiles. And he's absolutely right. Go destroy the Iranian Navy. They like to, harass ships in the Strait of Hormuz and try and take ships. Go blow up the nuclear power reactor. Go take out the power to Tehran. Make a statement. What are they going to fucking do? That was the difference. That was a good question. I'm glad you asked. All right. Next one. Hi, Emperor. My God. Folks, I've been around forever and a day. Learn to spell it. You're back. At long last, you grace us with your velvety voice and whiplash rants. Can you suck it anymore? How long until you bring back the Emperor's Court? Not happening. Maybe you can get the band back together. Not happening. Are you going to be doing any segments or bits on the Friday show? Long-time cultist Spigot from Auckland. Wow, New Zealand. The segments or bits thing, maybe. We kind of talking about that. We're just kind of talking about that, sort of. But no, I have no plans to bring back the Emperor's Court. No. Lastly, Emperor. Love the new show you're on. Please tell your co-host they do a great job. Janet is adorable. Ruben reminds me of a plushy teddy bear. Glad to hear you're back. Jessica Witchy from Santa Monica.
Well, that's nice. Thank you.
There you go.
I feel better.
Wait, there's another one I'd like you to read. The first one I posted in the private chat.
Okay. Long Empress Court patron here. God, I haven't had a patron in so many years.
Tonight.
I'm sorry, but this is getting way too fringy for me. Janet. Nice spelling. They're not going to cancel the damn election to kill Trump. Trump may or may not be in jail by November, but if he is, it's for something he likely did. And if man was shaving his genitals in a men's room, he would also be an issue and likely be arrested. That argument is complete insanity. Please retune with reality.
Wow. That is not insanity, because it just happened a couple weeks ago in a gym in Alaska where the guy was shaving his genitals at the sink, and the woman got her membership declined for trying to videotape it and posting and talking about it. So that did happen.
Am I reading all of these, or are you reading the next one?
No, you read it.
Well, I've got to read these?
Why not?
Why fucking me? All right.
Yeah, okay, I'll read it.
Go ahead.
Hi, Janet. I just like to say thank you for your show, Friday Night Shit Show. I'd like to tune in and watch you and listen to your great voice. Tonight's show was a bit hard to listen to. Orange Hat is absurd. It's hard to take him seriously. Sometimes a conversation becomes boring when he goes on these lengthy rants, seem to backpedal and then not really know what he's talking about. He becomes very angry. It doesn't make for great listening. Please bring back more articles and review them. And then that's all it says.
Oh,
that was it. I copied and pasted it. So they want us to bring more articles on and talk about them instead of going on more rants. So that's what we said we wanted to email for.
We talked about 3 hours of shit and we got 2 emails. That's it.
That's all I saw. Let me go back and look and see, but that's it. Now we got one. I got one this morning, but that was for the Thursday show. I don't want to read it on. Those are the two that are in the box from tonight.
Sorry about the Thursday show. I didn't see it. I was on the call. I got a call in the middle of the show.
But see, I don't care if everybody agrees with me because this is my opinion. That's all it is.
We must
Just
agree.
Like anyone on this show, it's our opinion. It's not what we think is exactly going to happen. I pray all the time that I hope that we do have elections. I really do. But in my heart, I don't believe that we are. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But we'll find out, won't we? November will be here soon, and hopefully I'll be signed up to work the polls if they do happen. But it only takes one state to not have them on the ballot, and that's all it takes. Because if he doesn't get the electoral college votes, he doesn't win, right?
Work the polls.
So, and that's the truth. So unless they take that away and only give us. Yeah, I've been having internet problems myself. If they take away some of the states, I think it was Maine that was talking about it, going to the popular vote, something like that. Didn't you hear that on the news, or it was on there a couple days ago? I didn't get to hear it because I've been so busy with some other things that are going on. But
yeah, that was so funny. A lot of the states did that last time. Like it was 2016. They said we got to go to the national popular vote because so and so it's unfair. Gosh, it's so silly.
See, I but the thing is, I'm not going to say I disagree with it because to me, I still believe that it should go down to the states. If you live in a state and your people vote to have something like to have abortion, it's out of my hands. See what I mean? Yeah, I can live with that. And if I don't like the state that I'm in, I move to another state. That's what America is and why America is different than any other country in the world. And I still believe in that.
So you're saying that if Texas, by some fluke of stupidity, went to the national popular vote at last time in 2020, they would have voted for Biden.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the breakdown of it. But what I'm saying is, if a state changes the way that they do their elections, that's up to that state.
True.
If the state legislature and everything does it, I'm out of it. I mean, and if that's the way they do it, just like the election laws are a little different in Arkansas than they are in Louisiana. They weren't way different, but just like jury duty, it's different in this state compared to that state. Everybody does it their way because that's the way the people in those states have voted for the years that state has been a state.
Right.
And I'm a firm believer in states' rights. Period.
Not when it comes to a federal election of presidency, because the reason or the electoral college was created as a check and balance against because a popular vote. They knew that only one party would ever win if it was only strictly given to a popular vote, because too many people from too many different states would be or single states can decide an election given or due to population alone. So that is why it is important to have an electoral college. I do not believe it should ever go to a popular vote deciding a presidential election.
And you're right, because I had a discussion with a person one time. It was about 10, 12 years ago. And they were talking about how they believe that we should have popular vote. And I was like, really? And she said, yeah. And I said, do you realize that the city of New York, just the city, and not talking about the rest of the state, outvotes Arkansas, the whole state of Arkansas? Do you understand that? And then she just looked at me and was like, what? People are not thinking about it that way. And I said, that's why we have the electoral college set up the way it is so that these small states that just have farmers and ranchers and, people like that, compared to a huge, ginormous cities that they have on all the coasts, both our coasts, they can't compete. We can't compete. All the California Oregon, Washington State, New York State, and some of the other states in New England would basically own everything in this country.
I think there should be an electoral college for gubernatorial or elections. To be completely honest,
I think that has to be done at the state level too.
Yeah, I know. I think there should be a state electoral college for gubernatorial elections, because I guarantee you, if that was the case, New York would be red instead of blue right now, because 95% of the landmass of districts and shit voted red in the elections. It's only because of the mass population areas like New York, Rochester, and fucking Albany, and Buffalo that are extremely Democrat and blue that they keep on, or that governors keep on winning fucking blue elections. Or I mean, Hochul almost lost to Zeldin in the last election. It came down to like 1 or 2%, if I remember correctly. And it's like, that's letting people know something. A lot of people are sick and tired of blue freaking held, or because I love how all these big, huge fucking channels love to shit on New York. And it's like, well, New York is a deep blue state. Fuck you, you dumb retards. It is not a deep blue state. Unfortunately, it has deep blue areas that decide our fucking elections. Believe it or not, most of the state is actually red, if you care to actually pay attention to shit. But no,
you can look
liberal
at the
hive
whole
mind,
country.
fucking Tim Pool, and all those other dumb retards continue to call New York a deep blue state. It's like, no, actually, it's not. Maybe you guys should actually pay more attention. Fucking Ben Shapiro and all those other ones that love to call New York is a deep blue state. No, it's not, you fucking retard. Learn to pay attention.
But you look at if you go and you look at the country, the whole country on red and blue, on how many people vote conservative and how many vote liberal, guess what? Almost the whole country's red, except for all the cities.
Yeah.
All the cities.
Most of the population centers are the ones that are balancing it out into making it more either blue or red.
I mean, when I first saw the very first video I saw on Twitter, and it had a drag queen reading, to kids, like elementary school kids. And I saw the video and I was like, what? The reason it was such a big deal is because the person wasn't wearing any underwear. And they were talking about the person that was reading, the way they were sitting. It was in a library or something. And it was small kids. And I was like, this is disgusting. Where in California is this? And they said, this is Austin, Texas. And I went, what? So I'm telling you, they're moving from all these other states and they're moving to our cities in our states.
And that's the thing that I don't like about a lot of people saying, well, move to the red states if you don't like the blue states that you're in. I'm sorry. To me, that's a fucking cop-out and a freaking cowardice way out. Because if you want to actually fucking affect change and shit, get more red people in the blue states. I mean, instead of fucking running and moving out like cowards do, actually try doing something about it and actually trying to get the freaking states to go red. I mean, the whole California would be red. They had their chance a couple of years ago when they recalled Gavin Newsom, and they fucking failed.
Yeah. Because not enough people.
Maybe you guys should have thought about that before you continued to vote for Newsom after the recall happened.
Well, a lot of people, it's like I talked about earlier, they don't vote because they feel like their vote doesn't matter. That all votes are rigged, all elections are rigged, but all the elections I've ever sat and worked the polls, I watch everyone, because it's hard not to, because sometimes you sit for 20, 30 minutes without a single person coming to your table, to get a ballot. And it's usually busy at lunch, and then it gets busy after people get off from work. The rest of the day, I was able to crochet 3 hats. Okay. That's a lot of crocheting. I mean, it really is. It takes time. But the thing is, during that time, I never saw a single person writing on anyone's ballot or doing any of the stuff that I saw on TV, the videos that were coming out. That's why when I saw them, I was like, holy shit, how are these people getting away with doing that? Because you're not supposed to write on anyone's ballot. The only person allowed to touch a ballot like that is the person that is voting. That's it.
Can I address Sean Bird's comment of how it's a cop-out? It's a cop-out because, one, you're giving up. You are moving out of the state because the state is too hard to live in right now, so yes, I'm going to move out and go somewhere else. When not everybody's able to fucking do that. Or there are some people who are living in blue states that can't afford to move because they can't honestly afford to get out of the state because, well, they don't have enough money to do so. So in the way I see it, you're giving up to move to a different state for a personal gain. Now, yes, I can understand why businesses would do that. Sure, it makes money, or they're in the business of making money. So yeah, I can understand that. But when personal people are freaking doing that and whatnot, instead of trying to take more proactive means to try to balance the equation, so to speak, I'm sorry, but I kind of believe in what John F. Kennedy said. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Same goes for the states, in my opinion. Ask not what your state can do for you, but what you could do for your state. Because instead of running and hiding running to a different state because the fucking taxes are too high or this or that. Yeah, I get it. Life is fucking hard. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But how do you expect things to change if you are running away? I mean, what happens when you run out of places to go? Because blue people are also running to Florida, in case you haven't noticed.
Go ahead, Ruben.
No, but I moved to Chicago because I loved the architecture and the culture here back in 1990. And it wasn't that bad then. It was Democratic controlled, but culturally it was very mainstream in a sense that it was normal until 2016. Everything changed and the crime skyrocketed. So I said, fuck this, I'm out of here. I'm out. I left for Florida. I'm back here again because again I got sick and everything. Well, I got sick before, that's why I left. And I want to find a place to go. And basically I know that Haya wants to stay in Philadelphia, which everyone says Philadelphia is a shit show. But again, she basically is very optimistic that, things are getting better. Things will be better. Things, Trump's in office and things will get better. And I went, okay. I that's very youthful optimism. Mm-hmm. And I got to believe that, but I'm still saying, once I get a job somewhere, we'll figure it out and we'll see what happens. But, again, I do long for that. So I do agree with both of you in a way. Yes, I want to go and work the polls in a place. Yes, I want to go to Philadelphia or wherever I want to go to have a life and basically be part of the city there. Mm-hmm. I told her, I said, let's go like Allentown. Let's go to a small town and start a life, Scranton, wherever. Someplace where you can go hunting, go have a land. So yes, it is true. I wouldn't say cop out. I would say basically I agree with you what you're saying there, Orange Hat. I just say that some people will say that it's difficult and they don't know what to do, and that's what they have to do. They have to basically get their shit together first, get your house in order, and then get your city in order, get your county in order, get your state in order. But you have to start doing your part. And I know it's difficult. You have bills to pay. You've got kids in school. You have a job. You have all this going on, but you have to start doing your part for yourself to make a difference. It's little steps. And think about it this way: you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your family. Doing it for your grandkids. You're doing it for your legacy. I want a legacy, and that's why I'm doing everything I can. Because before I met, I was going to go to mountains. I would go away to the mountains and be happy. I'll still do that if I have to, if things really, really go bad. But I'm going to continue to find a place and build a home and build a community and build a future that I will be happy to be part of.
I hope you get it.
Yep.
Well, does anybody have anything they want to talk about before we close shop?
No, I'm done.
How about a review of Anna Karenina? Just kidding.
We can, you know what? The articles I had wouldn't be relevant next week, so we can just skip them, I guess.
Okay. Well, do you want to talk about one of your articles now?
No, it's 1:15, and I work in 4 hours. So
I know.
No.
Shit.
I got to go to the gym and do some stuff tomorrow too. So I'm like really tired. But I just want to
I
say
am being
thank you
told you
guys.
didn't read all the emails, so I don't know what that means. I'm just being told by old
Well,
listeners.
let me look
emailing
again.
it.
I mean, I don't. This
If
Guys,
there are
I don't
emails
have-
that are
Oh, here's a new
disrespecting the
one.
panel,
There's a
I
new
don't
one
think they
have
should be
access
read.
to anybody's
There's
emails.
another one that says Reggie Noble on it.
Refresh.
Just says you
refresh.
didn't read
These
my
are the guys I
email.
read earlier. But guys, I don't have any access to these emails, so I don't know. Stop fucking
Well, hold
messaging
on.
me. Ask
Hold
her.
on. I'm gonna look for another one and see if there's any other ones that say
Well, I'm just
Reggie Noble on
telling the listeners, guys, don't hammer me for it. I'm not censoring anything. I'm not reading them. I don't even see them.
Oh, this one. This is
So
from
ask
the other day
her.
that I read you. This is the one from the other day that I read you. I read you all
right.
the emails.
Check your junk mail.
No, it's not in the junk mail. It says
That's a
here,
Thursday
why
show.
does
That's a Thursday
everyone
email
seem
anyway.
I'm trying
ahead.
to read it
Go ahead.
now. Why does everyone seem like they're having a good time except for Orange Guy? Dude has been mean mugging the camera every time someone talks, bro. Eat a Snickers. But this was from the other night. This
it's an
was
old-
from
It's
last
an old
Friday.
email.
So
It's an old email. It's an old email.
Then
read
what is
it,
this guy
not
bitching about?
because
If you sent it in days ago, then all right.
okay, this says on it right here. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to send it to you.
Well, don't send
I'm
it to
gonna
me.
post it.
I believe
No,
you.
I'm posting it
I just
in
don't want anybody
the private chat right now.
just stop
post it.
blowing up my messages, guys. I honestly
Posting it in
not my fucking show.
private chat so you can see it and you can see the date because it's from the other day. I read you those ones. The one. Do you want to go ahead and read what's her name's now? Since we're going ahead and read them all. The one with the
that was
poem.
the Thursday show. That was the
That's
Thursday
what
show.
I thought this was from. We got these on Thursday night, so I didn't even open them tonight because
What are you getting mad at me for? I don't even know what's going on. I'm just telling you.
I just posted it there.
Fucking leave me alone, people.
I'm just trying to say that I didn't not post something simply because I was trying to keep it from being read. Has nothing to do with it.
We've had an email for 1 week, folks. Have some patience.
Yeah.
My God.
This was from Thursday. And let me get the other one. Hold on. That was the one. And here's the other one. It says, hey, just finished listening to the show and loved it. Huge step up from the other one. It's nice to hear some back and forth and not listen to one angry blowhard hog the mic the whole time screaming about whatever. I'm pissed, though. You missed some classic 80s movies. Imp, I'm ashamed of you, bro. How could you see it? That's what I said. This is from Thursday. I have no reason to lie.
Don't get mad at me.
Now, wait, I'm going to give you the email password so you can get into this one because I'm not going to put up with this every week. I'll just let you open one.
I'm not going to put up with it either. Don't put this on me. I'm not doing it.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not going to be told I'm a liar because I'm not reading emails. These are from Thursday show, not from tonight.
How about we just don't do an email anymore then, if it's going to be that big of a deal?
Okay. No, it's fuck it.
That's fine.
I'm kind of with her on that one. Fuck it.
I'm pissed though. You missed some classic 80s movies, Imp. I'm ashamed of you, bro. How could you forget the golden child of Coming to America or I'm going to get you, sucker? Or Roots. I'm going to have to revoke your black card, man. Us homies had some classic back when you then you too know. Damn, I feel old. So ask that person.
Wait a minute.
If that's the email that they're talking about.
I included plenty of black movies in the 80s classics. What? This is character assassination, the highest order. Although Coming to America is a really the Golden Child. I remember, wasn't that that was another Eddie Murphy? Those are both Eddie Murphy movies, weren't they?
Eddie Murphy. 1,
2, 3 emails from Reggie, the Reggie person, and 2 were from.
Go ahead.
You're Reggie? Just kidding.
No, I've never seen Roots. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a bad thing to admit because I know it's like a classic miniseries from the 80s. It was pretty genre defining, but I was a little kid when that came out. I never watched Roots. So yeah, bad on me. I have seen those other movies. I guess I should feel bad for not including them. because there's not like 1,000 other movies we didn't have time to get through. Look, we spent an hour talking about 80s classic movies. Fucking be grateful for that.
So ask your friend Reggie if he's expecting me to send him nudes or something to make up for
What?
not
I don't
reading his
know Reggie,
stuff
but
that he
apparently
sent
he's an
on a
old listener
different
of mine.
night.
But if you're gonna send nudes,
No, don't do that.
No, I'm
You're
just
gonna
saying.
send to one
No, I
person?
just would like him to say something about it, like in the chat or whatever, if he's here, if he's expecting some kind of shit like that. Is that the kind of person he's going to be? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, that's crazy.
These were from the other night. I'm just read the ones from tonight, from this show. That's it. And then I'm getting accused of lying. So I'm not lying.
2 emails.
That's,
that's fine. So people were never mind. People were not personal. What's it called? DMing you, Emperor. Then
I have a lot of old listeners that have sent me on Discord.
Discord.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotcha.
I don't know why he's upset because I read his email that he sent in last week, so it's not like he's not getting run. And I apologize to some of my people that are sending emails. I may not remember everybody. It's been 8 years since I did my last show, and I don't remember everybody's name. So that's the only thing too. If you guys get mad because I don't remember your name,
everybody here on the show to know that as soon as I opened this email and I got one from a woman named Wendy, the first thing I did was call him.
Yes, but Wendy really liked me, and that was a great email. What did she want me to do? She wanted me to read something.
I read him all of the emails that I received.
It was one email.
I read you two. I read you the one from him, not the one that said you were an ass or whatever. The other one, the short, tiny one, the first one I read.
I was an ass?
I read them to you. That one and the one from Wendy. And then I said, if you need to practice so that you would know that poem.
That's what she wants me to read the charge of
the other one must have came into the box after I read you, because that was in the morning when I got those. So then whatever we got tonight, and I checked and I said, we haven't gotten any new emails.
Do I really have to read the charge of the Light Brigade though?
Why not? She asked you to. I think you should. But
just because a woman asked me to do something doesn't mean I always do it. Wendy, send me nudes.
We're going to do it on Thursday night because it was replied to on the Thursday show. It's two different shows.
Right.
So if I read everything that we got for Friday or Thursday night show on Friday, they might not even be watching. So that's why I said we would do it on Thursday.
Is anybody else thoroughly confused, or is it just me? I am lost.
No. Here's the situation. I think I'm an outside observer. Emperor's getting messages about not responding to messages.
Basically,
emails read from one guy.
The one guy was pissed that I denied reading his email after I just read the two that we received tonight.
Despite the fact that he had, I had read one and she had read one.
So what I think is going on is what I really think happened is, unfortunately, the person may have sent the email to the wrong email address, possibly.
No,
I just checked mine. I've got nothing in it.
No, I read the two, but we got them after our Thursday show. I wasn't looking
someone's
for
mad
Thursday
he didn't get enough
emails.
attention on a show that doesn't
Friday
involve
night
him.
Emails. That's it. That's why I went through right to those, and I read them. I posted both of them in the private chat.
Right.
So why would I bring up a Thursday email for a Friday night show? That's what I'm trying to get this guy.
Was it labeled for the Thursday, Friday? Folks, when you send an email, please label what show it's supposed to be for.
Oh.
No, the date on it is yesterday. So that's why I know it wasn't tonight's show. Why would I open it? It was from yesterday after I told you about them.
It depends on when it was sent yesterday, hon. We went on the air starting at 10.
Okay, well, I didn't check them today because I was waiting till after this during the show to check.
If they sent the email prior to midnight, it would be dated yesterday.
No, I'm okay. today. It's still
All right.
Friday to me.
A suggestion: we can hammer this out outside of the show. We can probably just wrap it up here. At this point, I'm fine with not doing any emails at all. I don't want to have to cater to one guy who's, I don't care if he's no listener. If he's mad after having 3 emails read and he's still mad, he sent another one. Buddy, we're doing this because we want to get people to talk and interact with the show. That doesn't mean you get to keep sending in spam all the time. We're not always going to read your email. I got 5 or 6 last week that I'm just not going to read because they're not worth reading. No offense, but just because you email a show doesn't mean you're any special, and we're going to read it.
Yeah, I added it because I added an email to try to help
super chat.
So people that aren't on YouTube, that don't have access to the YouTube chat, would be able to send in comments. And I throughout the Tonight Show, I kept going back and checking, and then I had those ones, and I said, "You had emails." I put it in the private chat. Do you want to read the emails or whatever? So
the emails.
But I wouldn't go and get Thursday night shows emails and read them tonight, because why? They're from Thursday night show.
Sean Bird said, what makes an email worth reading? Well, how about if it's flaming somebody on the show and nothing else? I mean, constructive criticism is one thing. Flaming for the sake of doing it is quite another. I wouldn't bother reading that. That's not worth it to me.
True.
There's an example. You can make whatever smart-ass comments you want, but I mean, that's where I draw the line for me. It's not my show, but that's where I would be. You want to flame? I don't know. You can send your email.
Well, see, I didn't know
doesn't mean it's worth reading.
Said anything until you said something, because he sent you a message.
Yep. And I told him the same thing I said here. From now on, just message her. I don't care. And I didn't particularly think what he had to say was all interesting anyways. I mean, he had an interesting question about the Israel thing from last week. Okay. That's worth reading. Why? Because it brought up an interesting point.
He sent that to you because he didn't send anything about Israel.
That was last week. These are all from last week's show. I got these on I don't know, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But that's my point. Don't send them to me anymore, guys. If you're an older listener of mine, I don't monitor that email, and that's for a different show anyways. Send them to this one if we're going to still use it. This is not the same show. It just isn't. Not the same host, not the same format, not the same topics. Mm-hmm. As much as you'd like me to go back to that, I'm not doing it, and for very good reasons. Fine. You want to talk about it? Fine. 5 minutes, then we're getting out of here. I'm not bringing back my show because I don't want to put up with all this nonsense. There are plenty of people out there who wouldn't like the content we got. If we had the audience that we had last time we did this, there's no way that there wouldn't be people screaming bloody murder because they don't like the politics of one of the hosts on there. And we had everything. Of the 4 hosts, we had a communist, 2 guys who were right-wing, and a lesbian chick who was kind of in the middle on most things. There is not one group out there that would not be offended and start some kind of holy crusade on social media because they heard something one of the 4 of us said and hated it. I don't want to put up with that, and neither did any of the old hosts. That's the reason we stopped doing it. It got too big, and we saw the writing on the wall back then. Now, I don't know if cancel culture is really a thing. Most of us are moved on to their jobs that probably wouldn't give a shit, but that's not really the point. I don't want to deal with it anymore. It was fun. It was great. Do I miss it? Absolutely. That's why I'm doing this, because it's fun to do this with these 3. It's fun to do it on Thursday with Janet. It's a whole different atmosphere. Now, I love my cultists. They're fanatics and they're great. And you guys aren't the problem. All right. But having that kind of show again, someone would not like one of the jokes, or somebody wouldn't like a segment, and you know what? I don't want to fight with people on social media. I got better things to do with my time than somebody not liking whatever it is we talked about. Oh, they didn't like the point the communist guy had. Oh, they didn't like the point the right-wing guy had. Oh, we didn't like what the lesbian had to say. Too fucking bad. I just, enough's enough, man. It used to be just for entertainment, just for fun. And it was great. It was a lot of fun then. That isn't the atmosphere anymore. That's not the way that this country is in 2024. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to do it. It just isn't. So either get with a different format or don't. Love to have you. Love the support, but it's not the same show, guys. It's not going to be. I hate to make that speech for one guy who's spamming emails, but I don't really care who you are. No, I know what I did in my end. I just blocked them. That's it.
Huh?
What?
I'm really confused.
I am too. Dude, you just called my question a smart-ass comment because you didn't like it. You're acting the exact way you're bitching about. Take our advice.
I'm confused.
I am too.
Do you read another comment of his or something?
I don't think so.
I have no idea.
I don't know. It's 1:30 in the morning, and I don't care.
I know, me too. I'm really tired.
No, but
I just want to
go ahead.
Thank you to everyone for joining me, and I'm sorry I got upset. But when it comes to kids,
no, you're passionate about what you believe in. That's important. That's the most important thing, and you have the right to say what you need to say and get it out there. Because again, I don't want you to keep it vented inside, because I know that I know how it is when you go to sleep and you worry about what's going on and it hurts you because you've dealt with it personally. Your family's dealt with those things personally, and it affects you, and you're basically passionate about what you believe in. Yeah, no, keep your passion. Never let your passion die. Keep it alive. And Emperor, again, it was again, I am honored to be in your presence, because again, I really enjoy your energy and what your topics and your takes on everything. I just wanted to say that personally. I like it.
I didn't have any topics tonight. We didn't get to them, but thank you, Ruben. I appreciate that. You're just happy because one of my listeners said you're a plushy teddy bear.
I wonder who that was. It's so nice. It's so nice.
Spigot from Auckland, whoever that is.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm sorry I didn't get to your
it was a fine show. We covered a lot of stuff. Don't worry about it. It's perfectly fine. I had fun. It was good. Plenty of stuff to talk about.
Why are you crying? For showing up, and I appreciate everybody who's supported me.
Why are we crying? We can get to my articles next week. It's not that big a deal.
Good night.
Good night.